a long-standing partnership. Again, at the Winter Games of Calgary, the Olympic tradition continues.
Giant Stadium, the Meadowlands, New Jersey, just across the Hudson River from New York City. And tonight, an unusual air of anticipation as the New England Patriots and the New York Jets meet in an AFC Eastern Divisional game. And tonight also marks the strike deadline set by the NFL Players Association. A strike that at this moment seems imminent. ABC Sports presents NFL Monday Night Football. This is our 18th season, and with those years, so many memories. Second down and 10. Grogan, that's one way, rolls the other, has Hannah in front of him. Hannah with a good block. Look at Grogan, coming all the way. God. He scored.
Four wide receivers. Low snap. For Duper, intercepted at the 33 by Rod McSwain. And Rod McSwain has, in all probability, just clinched the AFC East Championship for the New England Patriots.
Tonight from Giant Stadium in New Jersey, it's the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Midas for mufflers, brakes, and shocks. Midas-Eyes, get it right the first time. And by Delta Airlines, we love to fly, and it shows. Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford, and welcome to Giant Stadium here in the Meadowlands of New Jersey for a meeting of two longtime rivals from the old AFL, the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. And this could be the last football game of the NFL you're going to be watching, at least for the time being, because the Players Association strike deadline coincides with the conclusion of tonight's game, and there's been absolutely nothing that has transpired this past day to ease a very critical situation. We will be finding out more about the strike situation when at halftime we talk to Gene Upshaw live from Washington. Gene, of course, the executive director of the National Football League Players Association. We'll also talk to Jack Donlan. He is the chief negotiator for the National Football League. And we are going to be talking to Mike Singletary, the player representative from the Chicago Bears. For yours truly, there's a feeling of deja vu tonight. 5 years ago, I called a game here between the New York Giants and the Green Bay Packers. It was that night there had been a strike deadline called by the Players Association. It was an eerie night because the lights went out for 14 minutes, you might recall. Everyone thought it couldn't happen. They said it would not happen. Well, it did happen, and it happened for 57 days. They were out. A season shortened to 9 games, and that is exactly the kind of situation we're in. Al Michaels, it is critical at the moment. We are not holding anything back from you. We do not know anything special. We will know more at halftime.
Well, the lights going out was a precursor. You know, Frank, I was thinking yesterday the players had to be somewhat distracted because of all of the talk about the strike. Tonight they are really distracted. It has dominated pregame conversation. In fact, a case in point, the New England Patriots came out of their regular offensive and defensive meetings today, and then the whole team went into a session with Mark Murphy of the Players Association at 11:30 this morning for 1 hour at the hotel, and might I add, to the surprise and obvious chagrin of the New England Patriot coaches. As far as the situation with Donlan and Upshaw, are they meeting right now? No. We talked to Upshaw on the phone about an hour ago. I said, anything in the last 3 hours of any significance? He said no. Again, we'll talk to them at halftime. I know a lot of fans keep saying, didn't these guys learn something back in 1982? Didn't they realize how damaging it was? I think it's worth noting that 2/3 of the players, 67% of the players now active in the National Football League, were not in the league in 1982, so they're liable to learn about a strike firsthand. We'll find out in 3 hours. Meanwhile, there's also a football game to be played tonight, and as I turn to Dan Deerdorf, it figures to be a pretty good one.
Yeah, it does, Al. It ought to be high scoring, and it's kind of a shame that the game ends up being second nature and secondary to all the strike talk. But a good football game we ought to have tonight. It should be high scoring. These two teams don't play a lot of 7-3 or 10-7 football. On the one side, we've got the New York Jets. They opened up at 10-1 last year, and everyone in New York can't forget the 5-game collapse they had at the end of the season. Even though they beat the Chiefs in the playoffs and then lose to Cleveland, it hasn't been forgotten. They barely beat Buffalo last week. They have holes, especially defensively. On the other side, it's the New England Patriots. Take the Bears, take the Giants, and you have to include the Patriots as the top 3 most talented teams in the National Football League. If the players don't walk out at halftime tonight, it ought to be a good game.
The ceremonial handshake took place earlier. The show of solidarity just moments ago. The two teams meeting at midfield. And now we're ready for the start of the game. So at Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, two teams coming off victories in their season openers. New England beating Miami last week 28-21. Jets beating Buffalo 31-28. Pat Leahy to kick off, and back deep is Stephen Starring, number 81, back at the 2-yard line for New England. Leahy's kick taken by Starring at the 5-yard line, and Starring is hit at the 7. And so deep in New England territory will the Patriots begin a drive, and also a surprise. Tony Eason will start at quarterback. It was going to be Steve Grogan, but he developed neck and muscle spasms during pregame warm-ups, and thus that's the reason that Eason gets the start tonight. Grogan quarterbacked the team last week. Tatupu and Collins are the running backs. Morgan and Fry are the great wideouts. Dawson the tight end. And the offensive line with the rookie at right tackle, Bruce Armstrong, the #1 draft choice. And they start by going through the middle with Mosey Tatupu, taking it out to the 10-yard line, a gain of 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. The Jets play a 3-4. You'll notice Gastineau is not in there in the starting lineup. He's only in obvious passing situations. The rookie Alex Gordon, one of the 4 linebackers. And there is the secondary, and they're hurting. Lyles went down last week, and he's out, and Miano takes his place at safety. 2nd down, 7 at the 10-yard line. Eason to put it up, and down he goes back at the 2. It's Bob Crable, who came back from a severe injury, had a big interception last week in the Buffalo game to set up the clinching touchdown, who sacks him back at the 2-yard line.
Bob Crable has been really holding the defensive unit of these Jets together, and let's take a look at it again. Coming from the bottom of your screen with Gastineau still hurting, Klecko out probably till November. They've been hurting all along that defensive line, and this has to give them a lift. Well, he just olays Steve Moore, number 67, the left tackle. He went for the kill shot, didn't even touch Crable. They split Fryer to the right on 3rd down and 16 from the 2-yard line, and they're just trying to pick up some more room for Rich Camarillo, the punter, as Tatupu takes it out to the 4-yard line. So a very auspicious start, and it's Nichols, Gerald Nichols, the rookie nose tackle for the New York Jets, who makes the play. Filling big shoes in there, those of Joe Klecko. Tom Baldwin is also out with a compression fracture, and when you speak of the Jets today, you almost think of Blue Cross, because they are still hurting as they were hurting last year. JoJo Townsell is at midfield. Rich Camarillo, who boomed a 73-yarder last week and averaged over 42 yards a kick at the back of the end zone. And it's a low line drive kick that takes a good bounce for New England, fielded at the 45-yard line, and Townsell is stopped at the 42. So the Jets take over there. Darrell Holmes will make the tackle on the play after a 42-yard punt, 4-yard run back. And here is Ken O'Brien, so good last year through the first 11 weeks. And then the terrible finish coinciding with the Jets losing 5 straight, benched in the playoffs, but looked good last week basically against Buffalo. McNeil and the rookie Roger Vick
Toon and Walker the wideouts, and a revamped offensive line. 1st and 10, New York at the 42 with Cleaver in motion. And it's the rookie Vick out of Texas A&M who takes the ball to the 39-yard line, and Lawrence McGrew, one of the inside linebackers for New England, makes the tackle. And there they are. They're 3-4. The unrelated Williamses, Brent and Toby with Veras at right end. Good outside backers, Tippett and Blackman, with Nilsson, the veteran, at 36, and McGrew in the middle. And the secondary, a good one, even though they are missing Roland James. Jim Bowman takes his spot at strong safety. Cleaver comes in motion on 2nd down and 8 from the 39, and with a flag drop, McNeil takes the ball to the 34-yard line. Roger Vick leading the way, and Don Blackman in on the stop. Jerry Seaman is your referee.
And I think Don Blackman was across the line of scrimmage at the snap of the ball. Let's see if he got back in time. I don't think he did. Number 55 will probably be flagged here, but a little over anxious. Don Blackman, the Pro Bowl linebacker.
Offside, defense, still 2nd down.
Well, that's when they don't know who it is, but this right here is Don Blackman. Watch him make the move across the line of scrimmage. Way into the neutral zone at the snap of the football. Number 55, Mr. Seaman.
Joe Walton, first year of a 3-year contract in his 5th season as the Jets head coach. 2nd down and 3 at the 34, and again Cleaver is in motion, and the take to Freeman McNeil, and the pass is too high, intended for Roger Vick. It'll be 3rd down.
Hockey Cleaver is a tight end. He's also a very versatile football player, and Joe Walton, if he had his brothers tonight, he would like to run the football. He would like to power the football. He loves to do that, to control the football. The Jets have done it well when they played well. They will use Rocky Cleaver coming back inside. He'll trap to the inside. He'll take the linebacker out, and they'll try and use that double tight end just to control the football on the ground.
Patriots very proficient in this type of situation last week. And before the play develops, it was Banker and Sweeney backing up to pass block.
False start, fire to the snap. Number 63 offense, still 3rd down.
Well, the first thing that comes to your mind now is, and it's a question everyone's been asking, have the players been distracted in preparations for tonight's ball game? Already a couple of quick penalties. There's Ted Banker, number 63. Jim Sweeney, the left tackle. They both move together, and I mean, that's just lack of concentration, and I don't want to put it right to a meeting they had this afternoon, but let's suffice to say it didn't help one bit.
3rd down and 8. The Jets trying to cut down on penalties, but last week a total of 15. O'Brien on 3rd and 8 hits Walker, and he gets tackled. His forward progress takes him to about the 31.5. He appears to be a little shy of the 1st down. McSwain is in there. And for Wesley Walker, a milestone, number 400.
And they have been big over the years, too. That last one a week ago against Buffalo, when the Jets were hurting, they were down, and O'Brien and Walker hooked up on a great 55-yard touchdown reception, and it really got them going once again in the 1st quarter, because they were really being pushed around.
They're almost a full yard shy of the 1st down. Crowd naturally wants the Jets to go for it. On the subject of milestones, by the way, we note that Steve Largent yesterday went up and over 700 to join Charlie Joyner. So it gives you an idea of where Walker stacks up against the 2 best.
We could be looking at a couple of possibilities here. Line up for scrimmage and take a long count, hope you draw an offsides. Or they could actually be going for it. The Jets are very confident with their big back situational type setup, and that's what they bring in. Well, it only would have been a 49-yard field goal, so that was an option as well.
And the Jets now send Cleaver in motion on 4th down and 1, and pitch the ball to Hector, and he picks up the 1st down at the 30-yard line. They put Fa'aola in, and then he lined up on a wing to the left and led the way for Johnny Hector, who scored twice last week at Buffalo.
And the key on that was the block of Ted Banker, the left guard, who pulled out and led the play. He had to make a decision. Watch Banker, 63, pull. He looks to the outside, but knows it's short yardage and decides to turn upfield.
You see Steve Nelson moving backwards. That was because of the block of Banker. Allowed Hector to pick up the first down.
First and 10 at the 29. That's Toon in motion. And O'Brien goes the other way to Mickey Schuler, the tight end, to the 10-yard line and a first down.
Mickey Schuler, he had his 300th reception last week. Let's take a look at the production. That is key. And Al Toon is in motion. You're going to respect Al Toon. Out to Al Toon's right, and O'Brien looks it off really well, is Wesley Walker. He knows he's going to get the single coverage with Schuler. He gets it and fires it complete down inside the 10-yard line. But the protection was the key.
And did you notice who made a key block there? Freeman McNeil. Garen Varus got inside Jim Sweeney, and McNeil held him off long enough for the delivery.
McNeil and Vick are the running backs on first and goal from the 9. And it's McNeil trying to pick and thread his way for 3 to the 6-yard line.
And you saw Rocky Cleaver coming in motion, banging in on that nose tackle, and that can be very effective in there, Dan. You have no idea he's coming in there. You have peripheral vision that'll take you in the guard, but you do not think that flanker's coming down on you.
The offensive linemen, though, hate that play more than the defensive linemen, because more often than not, his helmet ends up in the back of your ribs or your kidneys. You take more of a beating than the defensive line does.
It's opened up a lot of new careers for them.
Second and goal at the 6. Play action and the pass to McNeil, and he's ridden out of bounds after a gain of 1 by Raymond Claiborne. McNeil last year in this game, and this game was played as a week 2 game last year on a Thursday night, suffered a dislocated elbow. In a game the Patriots won 20-6, and that was the only game the Jets lost in their first 11 last year.
Great running back, but he still has yet to finish his first complete season.
Third and goal. Toon in motion. And O'Brien lost it for Walker. No good. Covered by Claiborne, and it's 4th down.
Well, that's good coverage, too. He drilled himself right into Walker. A timing pass, and we see so much of it now in the NFL. Ken O'Brien hanging it up. The defensive backs have to play so close down there, but well played by Claiborne.
Frank, I think that's a very good call. Sometimes it's not an offensive player's fault when you don't get it done. Raymond Claiborne right there. It looked like his hand was on Wesley Walker, but it wasn't. He had it up in the air. That's perfectly legal, but there was no contact. That's as good as you could play it from Claiborne's standpoint.
Leahy now for a field goal from extra point range. Spotted down at the 12, and the Jets get on the board. So they took over with good field position after the punt. 9:01 to go first quarter. Jets cash in and lead 3-0. It's at Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, where yesterday the Dallas Cowboys shocked the Giants 16-14. And tonight about 75,000 looking on. The Jets lead by a score of 3-0, and Stephen Starring is back to receive the kick. His short run back put New England in a hole on the opening kickoff. Takes it at the 3. And back out he comes to the 25, a 22-yard return, and Kevin MacArthur, who ran back an interception for a touchdown in the playoffs last year against Kansas City, makes the tackle. First and 10 for New England at the 25.
We've already talked about Eason replacing Grogan tonight. Ray Berry told us today, had Eason even been healthy and he was injured coming in late as a holdout, he would not have started last week. So I'm sure that he did not want to be pressed into bringing Eason at least to start tonight's game, but he had to because of the injury to Grogan.
First and 10 from the 25-yard line. And it's caught by Greg Beatty, the tight end. Beatty, one of the 2 tight ends. Lynn Dawson has also come back from surgery. And about a 10-yard pickup and enough for a first down. The report from the bench, neck and shoulder spasms as you look at Grogan, number 14, who still calls the plays, and it's affected his throwing power, and that's the reason you've got Eason in there tonight. first and 10 from the 35. And it's Craig James out to the 37-yard line where Barry Bennett makes the tackle. And we figure to see a lot more of James tonight than last week when Collins went almost all the way.
It's kind of unusual, the Patriots only keeping 4 running backs. Most teams in the league keep 5, some even keep 6. The Patriots going with James and Collins, Tutupu, and Bob Perryman, a rookie fullback out of Michigan. And the theory there is if I'm going to keep 4, I've got to put all 4 of them into play. So Craig James and Tony Collins will split at the halfback. Tutupu and Perryman will split time at the fullback.
2nd and 8 from the 37. And again, it's James, and he works his way out to the 42. Even though he didn't have a banner year last year, James, a big night here in the game a year ago. He wound up throwing a touchdown pass to lead them to a victory.
One of the things the Patriots have done up front is get real big. Look at the pass-off block between Pete Brock and Sean Farrell. Closing Nichols off to the inside. Gastineau gets put on the ground. These guys are huge. And Steve Moore, number 67, to the right of your screen, 330 big ones.
3rd down and 3 now at the 43-yard line. Shotgun for the first time. Low snap, inside handoff, and a first down at the 50-yard line as Tony Collins gains 8.
Further to that, Dan, they had to do something about it. They were 28th in rushing a year ago, the New England Patriots. They were winning games, quite frankly, in a very unusual way. Some people said with mirrors, but they were winning them, and they have done something about it. They've got the big boys in there, particularly over on the right side. Bruce Armstrong, their #1 draft pick out of Louisville, ready to come in because he had trained under Howard Schnellenberger and trained in a pro offense. So he is starting there as a rookie on the right side, and he's huge.
From the 50-yard line, it's Mosi Tutupu in his 10th year out of the University of Southern California. Tutupu, a great special teams player, a guy who's made very few starts through the years, but certainly one of the most popular Patriots of all time.
We threw that graphic at you a minute ago talking about the Patriots last year averaging less than 3 yards a carry. I know you've heard it repeatedly, the old cliche, you can't win if you can't run the football. Well, the Patriots did win last year without running the football, but it's extraordinary. I mean, Walter Payton averages 4.5 yards a carry. A whole team less than 3.
2nd and 8, and the pass is caught by Tutupu, and he picks up a first down at the 37-yard line. He is stopped there by Russell Carter, the cornerback, and Kyle Clifton, the linebacker.
And all those moves they made on that offensive line really paid off in the first game when they had 159 yards rushing and they averaged over 4 yards a pop, and they did that with Tony Collins. And now we're featuring Craig James tonight, but Ray Berry says he doesn't care who's in there. He'd like to have them all working as much as they can.
1st and 10 at the 37. 3-0 Jets halfway through the first period. Eason, and it's dropped, and there's a scoop. Stanley Morgan, of all people. Morgan coming off a sensational year. Last year at the age of 31, his best year ever.
Can I tell you, that's a hard catch. It really is. It's right in your hands. Now, you're thinking touchdown at this point. They lay way off Stanley because he has still that tremendous speed to take it deep. Tries to scoop it in. You hit it right on the head, Al. It's a tough catch to make. Catch that on your fingers and you're a little better off, but who's going to tell this man about catching? 19.9 average for a 11-year career. That's a tough catch. That is a tough catch, Dan. You're thinking other things.
Stanley Steamer. He's to the left, Starring is to the right on 2nd and 10, and the pass goes over the middle, and it's incomplete. He's trying to hit the tight end, Greg Beatty, and a flag goes down. A late flag goes down. Kerry Glenn in on the play. It's against the Jets.
Gotta love Jerry Seaman. He's so animated. He really gets it on out there.
Holding number 35 defense prior to the pass. First down.
But efficient.
I'd like to see him do Shakespeare.
Theater in the round. You can find him on off nights.
He's just warming up. Kerry Glenn, one of the reserve backs, and he was in there in the nickel defense, is the guilty party. 1st and 10 New England now at the 32-yard line. The drive that began at the 25. And Eason going into a lot of traffic and incomplete, and now the flag gets dropped. Again, Morgan was there and he was surrounded. Jerry Holmes also went on the play.
Oh, this is going to be a beauty here. I want to see how they call this. Yeah, there was no way they're going to call that against the Jets. It's actually Stanley Morgan trying to break back to the outside that drops the Jet.
And he did not even question it. He knew he was absolutely dead solid guilty working against Holmes.
Yeah.
Pass interference, number 86 offense, still first down.
Stanley was running one of those routes where he weaves to the inside and then tries to break back, but Jerry Holmes had the position and Stanley just tramples him. There's no other way to describe it.
And right up the numbers.
Puts the ball back at the 42-yard line and makes it first down and 20. And now second and 20 on the pass intended for Beatty. And Eason is hot.
He was complaining that one of his receivers was held up, and he's not going to get a call. We mentioned that Grogan calls all the plays from the sidelines. Ray Berry has little or no ego when it comes to who gets credit for winning football games, and he really appreciates the talent and the knowledge that has been generated by Grogan over 13 years. He's totally in control of calling the offensive plays.
And you saw the man who signals them in, Tom Ramsey, the other quarterback, number 12. Second and 20. Eason throws on the run, and it's complete at the 29-yard line to Stephen Starring. Jerry Holmes making the stop.
That's a chart that Grogan has. That's Ramsey on the right. He'll signal them in. Grogan has called the play, depending upon down and situation. He has a little chart that gives him first and long, second short, second long, third short, third long, and all the plays, all the passes are listed under columns. The situations.
Third and 7, 4:40 to play. First quarter, 3-0 Jets from the 29-yard line. Over the middle again and dropped again, and I'm telling you, that's man bites dog. Stanley Morgan drops 2 and gets whistled for interference.
Dan, I won't say that was a hard catch.
Stanley Morgan coming from the right. Alex Gordon, the rookie linebacker, dropping back into his zone. Sees Stanley, but he's way out of the play. And again, you can't throw it much better than that. Right on the fingers of Stanley Morgan. You're not going to see that very often by Stanley, and already tonight we've seen it twice.
And the penalty on one drive. Now a 46-yard attempt. Tony Franklin missed 2 in a driving rain last week. And this one is short. So Franklin, who signed a gigantic contract after a terrific season, is now zipped for 3 in 87. Jets 3, Patriots nothing. It's been an overcast day in New York. Temperature in the mid-60s. Giant Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Well, they can afford to be whimsical right now. We'll find out more at halftime. Roger Vick gets buried. Garen Barris leads the charge on the Jets' first play. They lead 3-0 with 4:15 to go in the period.
And that's a rookie mistake by Roger Vick. In this league, you don't take it to the sidelines running parallel and then come to a stop and think you're going to head back across the field, Frank. It doesn't work that way.
Not unless you're a 9-3 speedster. And there is Eddie Carson, brought in 3 years ago to revamp the Jets defense. Went from a 4-3 to a 3-4.
Second and 15. O'Brien pump fakes, hits McNeil, and Freeman past the 30, the 40, and they'll have to chase him down from behind. He's to the 30-yard line and stopped at the 19 by Raymond Claiborne. What a move by Freeman McNeil early on to get sprung.
Brilliant run. Great cuts.
What does a veteran back know how to do? He knows how to set up his blockers. O'Brien gets some extra time, pumps once, fakes our cameraman, and then gets it to McNeil. But look how he sets up his blockers, Frank, but now it's all Freeman.
All the way. The quick cut. Nobody cuts quite like McNeil. He comes out of the cut accelerating. He doesn't have the great speed, but he puts the Jets in good field position inside the 20.
It's Vick now over the left side, buried after a gain of 1. A 56-yard reception for McNeil, the longest of his career. And, you know, it's funny, every time you begin to think Freeman McNeil has lost a step or he's on the decline, he pulls off something like that.
And that's a play that some other running backs in this league, well, let me give you a good example. If that's a pass thrown to Roger Vick, you really have to wonder if he has the savvy, the NFL experience to pull that off.
There he is, Freeman McNeil. It's officially in the books now as 57 yards. 2nd and 9 from the 18. And down he goes, and for the New England Patriots, that is first sack since last November in a regular season game. The oddity is it's a pretty good defense. They went through their last 3 games of the regular year in '86, and in their first game last week, they have gone 4 regular season games, as you see, tying a dubious league mark without a sack.
And last year, they were in that stretch run. They got to the playoffs, and they were just edged by Denver. They went on to the Super Bowl. So, as I said earlier, they won some strange ones a year ago.
And that sack was really caused because Raymond Claiborne came on a cornerback blitz and forced him up into the pocket.
3rd and 15 from the 25. And it's Hector. And the big back takes it down to the 17, where Toby Williams makes the tackle, and that sets Leahy up for what will be about a 34-yard attempt. It'll be 4th down at the 17-yard line. 4th and 7.
I was here yesterday when Raul Allegra had a chance to win one for the Giants against Dallas. A little longer than this.
34-yard attempt. He made a 22-yarder earlier in the period. And Pat Leahy is accounted for all of the scoring in this one with 1:06 to play in the first quarter at East Rutherford. Jets 6, Patriots nothing. In East Rutherford, and that's the #1 draft choice, the tackle Bruce Armstrong out of Louisville, who gets the attention here, re-wrapping his left ankle as New England gets set to take over again offensively, with the Jets to kick off after the second Leahy field goal. Starring is back deep, stepping at the 2-yard line. Starring from the 1. Out past the 20, the 30, and finally run out of bounds at the 43-yard line by Carl Howard. Good run back.
And what a key play that time by Rod McSwain for what he didn't do. He had an opportunity to put a block on one of the Jets. It would have been a clip, and he pulls up.
Look at it again. He takes it right up to the middle. That's where he was looking for a gap. He didn't get it. Broke to the outside, and you'll see what Dan spoke of in just a second. Coming up right here.
Right there, Rod McSwain, number 23, rather than come in with an obvious clip, pulls up, is effective anyway in the screen, and preserves the long run back by Starr.
It's Tony Collins looking for room over the right side, and a gain of about 2. It'll be 2nd down and 6 at the 46. Danny Villa in at right tackle, spelling Armstrong. Good one coming up. Nebraska, 2nd in the country against Arizona State, both unbeaten. That one in Tempe at 3 o'clock Eastern time Saturday. Nebraska and Arizona State on ABC's College Football, and Denver against Cleveland maybe next Monday.
And Holloway now with the Los Angeles Raiders, and ironic that we're talking about him on the eve of a strike, but you have to wonder if he wouldn't come in handy to the Patriots right now.
At the moment, 3rd down and 6 at the 48-yard line. And Eason buried at the 35. Alex Gordon, the rookie out of the University of Cincinnati, and the man Mike Ditka wanted to be Chicago's first-round draft choice. He was overruled. They went for Harbaugh, and it's Gordon with the sack.
And that has to be reflective of the changes in that offensive line that have transpired just in the past few minutes. Armstrong is out. Fairchild is in place of Wooten. Villa is over at the right tackle. Wholesale changes, and let's take a look at the rookie Alex Gordon.
He lines up in the down position, loops from over on the left side of the Patriot offensive line, and comes through completely untouched.
Mario to kick and JoJo Townsell to receive on 4th and 15 from the 40. Wobbly kick and a short one, fielded by Townsell at the 29, and he's dropped at the 31-yard line. Ernest Gibson getting down there in a hurry, and a penalty flag has just been thrown. Flag well after the end of the play. And Jerry Seaman getting the word from head linesman Leo Miles. So I'll wait for the call. And now the side judge, Dave Perry. And it's against the Jets. A personal foul.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 35 receiving team. First down.
That's Kerry Glenn, who was called for interference before.
Let's look at the bottom of our screen. You see McSwain. Bam! A left hook by Kerry Glenn right to the kisser of Rod McSwain.
And then you know full well if you're going to do it, get it in there early. They'll always see it if it's after the play.
You notice he hit him though with his left hand. It's taped up a little heavier than the right. At least he's. You're going to throw a bone, throw the padded one.
So the second big yardage penalty tonight on Glenn. 1st and 10 from the 15. And the catch is out of bounds. Wesley Walker, the sure-handed one, making the catch, but he was on the line.
Joe Walton calls all the offense for the Jets on the sidelines with help from Zeke Bratkowski. They signaled in. Let's take a look at Walker again. Good drive. You have to respect the speed going downfield. He has to come down, both feet in bounds. He doesn't even get the first one down.
2nd and 10. Jets at their own 15-yard line. New York ahead 6-0. Early second quarter. Walker and Toon both to the left. Freeman McNeil going nowhere. Don Blackman came in to bust up the play.
Freeman McNeil is the Jets nominee, by the way, for the Travelers Man of the Year. And that, of course, applies to any of the ball players who operate in the service groups of their community, whatever they might do outside of the realm of pro football. And living in this area, I can tell you Freeman McNeil is the man to call if you need something for kids, if you have a worthy cause, and he has been nominated for the Travelers Man of the Year. We'll get the Travelers Man of the Year in San Diego, Super Bowl 22.
3rd down and 10 from the 15-yard line. Great protection for O'Brien, and then a drop pass. Rocky Cleaver had it in his hands.
You know, as you look at Ken O'Brien, you realize what a tough trauma he's been through. They benched him for the playoffs after they lost the last 5 games of the season. He's from a little high school in Sacramento, a small college, Cal Davis, and Joe Walton and Zeke Bratkowski spent a whole lot of their offseason working with Ken O'Brien, who's a very low-key, very level-headed young man, but just to maybe protect the psyche, get it back.
He got off to a terrible start last week, as did all of the Jets in the first quarter at Buffalo, but then they got it in gear and won at 31-28.
He had never known nothing but being on top until a year ago, and it's tough to go through.
Dave Jennings with punt number 1091 of his long career. And Irving Fryer lets it bounce, and it's down at the 48-yard line by Billy Griggs. 37-yard boot. And Ray Berry's Pats will take over near midfield with 13:24 to go in the first half. This exclusive is being brought to you by Chrysler Motors and its automotive division, working together to be the best. Al Michaels with Frank Gifford and Dan Deerdorf at Giant Stadium. Early second quarter on 2 Leahy field goals. The Jets on top 6-0. And the Pats start this drive at their own 48-yard line. 1st and 10. Eason at quarterback. And he flips it to James, and Craig goes nowhere. Coming up from the corner is Russell Carter to drop him for a loss of 2.
I think the man assigned to block Russell Carter that time is Stanley Morgan. Stanley was standing around on the line of scrimmage, kind of checking out the action. Hate to be too tough on old Stanley, but he's phoning this one in so far.
2 drop passes. The penalty and a missed block. Here's Armstrong back in at right tackle. 2nd and 12 at the 46. Shotgun. Eason buried again, and that's the rookie, Alex Gordon. Gordon got a sack last week that was originally credited to Gastineau, and now 2 tonight.
I won't credit that to anyone else. And he is really coming off the line.
And Steve Moore, the left tackle, had somebody roll right up the back of his legs. Alex Gordon, when he came around on the sack, ended up falling on Moore, and he gets up limping. Let's take a look at it again. Coming from the bottom, it's going to be Alex Gordon. Hesitates just a bit, and that confuses Armstrong, who stays inside. Look at the way that Moore got doubled over backwards, but that little hesitation really fooled Bruce Armstrong.
3rd and 19. And again he gets sacked at the 27. And that's another rookie, Gerald Nichols. So the 2 rookies with back-to-back sacks.
Nichols, a 7th-round draft pick, filling in, as I mentioned earlier, so they can maybe get somebody back healthy, and he is playing superb. He was good last week, and he made a good move. Gastineau is still struggling with that knee problem. I don't think there's any question about it. In other days, Dan, I think you would agree, he would have spun out of that. He would have been right in on top of the passer before he could have even thought about it.
So Camarillo to kick on 4th and 29. The Patriots were not sacked once last week. Tonight, Eason's gone down 4 times. Camarillo, good, deep, angled kick. Townsell at the 20-yard line. And back up to the 29-yard line.
I got a black eye, Mom. But I'm a 7th-round draft choice, and I just got a sack on Monday Night Football. Not bad. Football. Here's Gerald Nichols on Paul Fairchild. Look how he's lined up to the outside. He's going to rush to the outside, I guess. Well, I think that's what Paul Fairchild thought. Starts to the outside, a little head fake, throws him back to the inside. Don't believe it when they line up to the outside, Paul. That's not where they're going.
A traumatic couple of weeks for Fairchild. He started at center a week ago, had trouble on the exchange with Grogan. Pinched him for Pete Brock, and now a young rookie beats him for the sack.
Jets at their 30 to start this drive. Cleaver in motion, 1st and 10. On a delay, it's Freeman McNeil, and nothing opens up for him. And down he goes at the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10. Again, strike appears to be imminent. Nothing really new to report. Gene Upshaw will be among those we will talk with at halftime. If every football player in this league had a Nielsen diary, our rating tonight would be about 74. There might be a few guys interested in what he has to say. 2nd and 11 at the 29. Vick. And the rookie takes it out to the 31-yard line. Vick, one of 6 running backs active in the league right now out of Texas A&M.
And a 1st-round draft pick. And really the Jets' first big fullback who can do it all in a number of years. Let's take a look at Andre Tippett, one of the better linebackers you're going to find around this league. Number 56. There's Rocky Cleaver. They put the big man, the tight end, on Tippett. And he scrambles along the line, plays it along, strings it out, and then he is there for the stop. And that's why he's been to 3 consecutive Pro Bowls. Outstanding.
3rd and 9, New York from the 31. Flips it to Schuler, trying to get the 1st down, loses the football on the far side. Patriots have it. Andre Tippett. He was fighting for that 1st down. He knew exactly where he had to go and forgot the football.
Always around the football, too. He has the great speed. We saw him a moment ago, stuffing a play at the line of scrimmage. We see him upfield, getting the recovery and setting up the Patriots with good field position.
Al, your assessment is exactly right. Schuler's going for the 1st down. It would have been a lot easier to step out of bounds, but he's trying to stay in bounds. Let's watch the hustle of Andre Tippett. Tries to get inside, working against Dan Alexander, fights off Hector, and this is nothing but hustle. It's easy to look at a play. He could have been 10 yards away, but he goes with it.
And it's possible that is it possible they're reviewing this play because time has been called? by Jerry Seaman. And the field judge
I don't believe in pictures.
has come over to the near side.
Now let's look at it again from the end zone. When does the ball come loose? Well, it's clearly a fumble. I don't know what they could be looking at here.
Clearly recovered inbounds.
That's open and shut, and they're going to give the ball to the Patriots, as they should.
Maybe they wanted to do one they could do quickly.
Jack, yeah, right.
That's good, Frank.
Jack Reeder is the replay official. The play stands. First and 10 at the 38-yard line.
You're getting ornery.
Truculent.
Collins for a gain of 2, stopped by Troy Benson, and a scuffle breaks out. Pete Brock involved in it. And we understand that what they were looking at on the replay was just to make sure that Tippett was inbounds when he recovered. Second down 8.
He was.
New England at the 36, second and 8, 9:54 to play, first half. Jets on top, 6-0. Eason sacked 4 times already. Collins, big hole to the 25. And Tony, who picked up 95 yards on the ground against Miami last week, had Armstrong clearing the way for him.
And he just blew Marty Lyons totally out of the hole.
Good to see Collins back, too. 3 years ago, he was a 1,000-yard rusher, and when they brought Craig James in, they kind of turned the running duties over to Collins. He turned into a superb blocker. As we look at him again, cutting it back, breaking the tackle. But it's good to see him back as a running back. He can do a lot of things to help the football team.
From the 25, they give it to Tutupu. Nothing doing. Gordon among those in on the tackle. If you look at Gordon, number 55, with those 2 sacks already. You know, the one thing Gordon has going for him, he's getting the plays in the starting lineup here. Had Ditka gotten his way, had he gone to Chicago, he'd have been on the bench.
And what wonderful versatility he gives the Jets because of his size. The man is 6'5", 245. He's an inch taller than Lawrence Taylor, about 2 or 3 pounds heavier. And what they like to do with Alex Gordon is put him down as a defensive end on pass rushing situations. A lot of times that's confusing. In fact, there he goes again into the down stance.
Second and 11 with Fryer in motion. And Collins on a sweep to the left and run out of bounds. Farrell helping to lead the way. Tony Collins last year 2.6 and James averaged 2.8. You know, the funny thing is we talked about their lack of a running game last year, yet when it came down to the end of that Miami game, those 2 big drives they needed to win the AFC East, the running game did it.
For 2 years now, 11-5 seasons, they always seem to do that, Al. When they had to do it, they did it.
Third and 7, and a flag is thrown, 2 flags. And Starring comes up and knows he was interfered with, despite the protestation of Jerry Holmes.
Well, Jerry Holmes was celebrating. I don't know what he's celebrating. He went for a ride. I would think that it's going to be Jerry Holmes that's going to get flagged.
It is.
Boy, you talk about misinterpreting a situation. Jerry Holmes came up mighty proud for a guy that had as flagrant a penalty as that.
Celebrating the fact that he didn't hurt Stephen Starring. He was running right up his back.
Illegal hands to the face, number 47 defense. First down.
A little bit of everything in there. Hit him at the line of scrimmage, popped him in the face, and now it's all over him. You could have called this too.
Well, you could have, and that's interference as well. He's got his hand and shoulder all over the back of Starring. Could have taken your pick that time against Jerry Holmes.
But excellent coverage.
Oh yeah, very tight.
First and 10, New England at the 17. That much time remaining now in the half, 6-0 New York. The Cooper in motion. Give it to Collins. Collins able to sidestep Crable, and then he's out of bounds at the 15-yard line.
Bob Crable's looking for the number of the truck that just ran him over. It was number 66, Paul Fairchild. Sent Crable for a spin and on his backside. And Tony Collins made the best of, not the best of situations at the line of scrimmage. That was the only block he got.
Crable all the way back now from total reconstruction of the knee a couple of years ago. Had a superb game last week against Buffalo, an interception that set up what turned out to be the winning touchdown.
2nd and 8 from the 15. Going for the end zone, and nobody is there. Nobody at all. Collins, the nearest, and he was 15 yards away.
Miscommunications there. Eason had time to sit there and throw the ball, and his receivers were running something he was unaware of.
Again, if you joined us late, Grogan was supposed to start. Grogan went all the way last week. That's Steve, number 14, but neck and shoulder muscle spasms before the game inhibiting his throwing, and that's why Eason is in there. Eason a holdout, late signee, and then a groin injury. But in there tonight, 3rd and 8. Dumps it off for Collins. He has no blocking. And at the 15-yard line, he's taken down by Kerry Glenn. So Franklin and the field goal unit comes in. Tony trying to connect on his first field goal of the season. 0 for 2 last week in a driving rain, and missed tonight from 46.
Talking to Tony before the game, and he was expressing some dissatisfaction at being called the $1 million man because of the big contract he signed. It's making him a little self-conscious, I think.
32-yarder, Eason to hold. And Franklin has his first 3 points of the season. 7:17 to play in the first half. Jets 6, Pats 3. Jack Donlin, and we will also talk with Mike Singletary of the Chicago Bears, their player rep.
One thing is looking up, Al, 5 years ago on the eve of the strike, the lights were out at this time through almost the entire second quarter. At least we've got our computer functioning tonight.
So the strike update coming up shortly. With 7:17 to play in the first half. Kick is taken by Townsville at the 7th. And JoJo is out to the 21-yard line. Eugene Profit and Ed Reynolds make the tackle. The report on Wooten, Ron Wooten, the New England offensive guard, twisted right knee, and they're not certain about his return tonight. He's back in the locker room. 1st and 10 to the 21. Schuler goes in motion, and O'Brien, after a short drop, throws to Walker out at the 29-yard line. They're about 3 yards shy of the first, 2nd and 3.
Kenny O'Brien has been throwing the ball well tonight. He's had a couple drops, as is Tony Eason, but that time of nothing more than a simple little curl. Run at 8 yards, drop to your knees. The ball's well thrown. Wesley Walker covered up, tough to defense.
With a single man, that's what they were trying to do with Carl Howard, where you have to play off Walker and respect that speed.
Hector is the running back here on 2nd and a longish 3. And he gets a shortish 1, does Freeman McNeil at the 28-yard line. 3rd and still call it 3.
Grogan and Eason. Grogan coming up 13 years ago. He was the man that made Jim Plunkett expendable. And Grogan himself has had more lives than a cat. He has risen from the ashes so many times, almost as much as Jim Plunkett. But he has turned into a player coach and still is a fine quarterback that proved once again last year that he can win. And he did it last week, too.
3rd and 3 now out of the shotgun. And backing up was Joe Fields. And again, what the Jets have done is taken one step to the right in that offensive line. Fields playing out of position, basically.
False start prior to the snap. Number 65 offense, still 3rd down.
Talk about forecasting things to come. We were talking to Joe Walton yesterday, and he was talking about the adjustment Joe Fields has had to make. And he said one thing that he has a tendency to do is anticipate the snap count. As a center, all centers cheat a little bit. You know, a center can't be offside, so they snap the ball a half a count early. Now that time, Fields just miscounted a little bit. He was about a count and a half early.
Some of them have been accused of making their block a little easier that way, too.
Oh, it makes them look quick.
3rd down and 8 from the 23. O'Brien over the middle for Hector and dragged down at the 44 by Jim Bowman. Blitz was on and opened it up over the middle, and Hector gets free for the first.
Good move by O'Brien, too. He sees it, and he probably knew that he did not have enough people in to protect him, and he just had a little rollout, sort of improvised, moved out to the right flat. Here they come. He knows he's going to be in trouble if he stays in the pocket. He knows also he's going to have single coverage downfield, which he does in the form of Johnny Hector, and they get the first down.
Safety blitz that time from Marion, leaving Bowman back there. First down, Jets at the 44. McNeil, minimal gain.
Cleaver cracking back once again.
That time cracking in on the nose tackle, Toby Williams, who stood up not only the center guy, Bingham, but Rocky Cleaver as well. Freeman McNeil had absolutely nowhere to go. He took the handoff and went right into the back of Cleaver. Cleaver in motion. He has to stay up high. But Bingham, the center, will post up Williams. There's Cleaver, but look how Toby Williams stuffs them both right back into Freeman McNeil. Can't play it much better at the nose.
2nd and 9 from the 45-yard line. Hector to the 48-yard line. Steve Nelson, the 36-year-old linebacker, and Ronnie Lepet converge to make the tackle. Johnny Hector, we talked about Vic out of Texas A&M, one of 6 running backs. Hector would be one of the 6 as well.
Just really doing what they have wanted to do, and that is being able to move the ball on the ground. Joe would like to keep control of the football game by moving the ball on the ground, and they have been relatively successful.
On 3rd and 6, O'Brien over the middle, juggled and caught, but short of the first down. Johnny Hector is there and turning and juggling the football, knowing he needed an extra couple of yards, and he doesn't get it.
Zeke Bratkowski on your right, Joe Walton, head coach, on your left, getting ready to send another play in.
I've got a question to throw out here. Where's Al Toon? He's on the field, but he's not a part of the Jet passing game at all. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't tested the Patriots secondary at all by going to the 6'4" Toon. Wesley Walker has been getting a lot of work. I don't see number 88 anywhere.
And they've been throwing to the backs.
And Al Toon is the possession type receiver that is not out of it because he is just strictly a fly man. He's not that at all. He's big and he's strong. He works the same kind of patterns that you could expect from Wesley Walker. Now, we have seen a lot of single coverage on Walker, and that would indicate that maybe the Patriots are respecting Toon a little more than Walker and double covering Al Toon.
Boy, and that makes a statement about his production against New England. Tonight's nothing unusual.
And Joe Walton's going to make a statement right now on 4th and inches at the 46-yard line. He's going for it. He's got Griggs, Schuler, and Cleaver in. All 3 are tight ends. And for the moment, Cleaver comes outside, but look for him in motion. 4th and inches.
Second time here in the first half.
And through the middle, and it's going to be real close. Nu'u'Fa'aola.
I am not a big fan of that motion man having to make that kind of a block on a short yardage situation. You're giving the defensive, defensive line free penetration. Cleaver had to make a block in motion on his own side of the football. Tough to do on 4th and short.
And you can see Walton is upset over the spot. He figures with his naked eye, it's not a first down. Of course, Bill Parcells saw something with his naked eye yesterday that turned out not to be the case. The field goal that he thought Allegri had kicked to win the game instead was wide.
If I could hook a golf ball like that, I'd drop 10 strokes off my handicap.
And Walton's naked eye.
The
Brought him the bad news early.
The Gardner Dickinson of the world would love you, the Hogan types.
Let's watch Cleaver in motion. He comes in from split out wide to the left, but look how he has to make a block on Garen Veras. He gives him free penetration. By the time he can get any movement at all, too late. They don't make it.
Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
The 12 has better knees than the original.
First and 10, New England from the 46-yard line. 2:45 to go in the first half. And it's Collins for a gain of about 2 to the 48. Could have been a shootout with the good quarterbacks and the great wide receivers, and it wouldn't have surprised a lot of people to see a lot of points on the board. And here we are almost at halftime, no touchdowns.
Well, New England offensively is at times looked like this is the first game after the strike than the first game before a strike.
A couple of unusual and uncharacteristic drops by Stanley Morgan made a big difference earlier in the game. If you weren't with us, could have turned into big plays.
And Easton's been sacked 4 times. 2nd and 8. That's Pryor in motion. Collins gets across the 50, and he takes it to the 48-yard line, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning as Miano and Gordon make the tackle. 2 minutes to play in East Rutherford, New Jersey. 6-3, Jets. Enterprise from Pompano Beach, Florida. Jim Mahoney, the pilot. Gyro cam operated by Bill Sullivan. High above Giants Stadium, the Meadowlands. Final game before the strike. Well, we're going to find out at halftime.
A pair of Patriots in the locker room. Ron Wooten with a twisted right knee. We don't know whether he'll be back. The right guard, the Fairchild, is replaced, and Craig James, the running back, also with a twisted knee.
4 wide receivers now for the Patriots on 3rd and 5 from the 48. And over the middle and dropped at the 44-yard line, Cedric Jones.
Two teams almost looking like they set up the same game plan. Not seeing the game we anticipated with all the skill, particularly out at wide receiver. Both teams are trying to play possession football, and that's but not at all what we expected, certainly from New England.
That's Townsville back at the 10. And Rich Camarillo to do the punting. Very high kick and a fair catch called for by Townsville at the 15-yard line. And the Jets will start from there. They have all 3 timeouts remaining with 1:48 remaining in the first half. Again at halftime, we will talk with the principals. And there they are. That's Gene Upshaw in Washington. That is Jack Donlin in New York. We will also be talking with Mike Singletary of the Chicago Bears at halftime.
Certainly well rehearsed after yesterday. Critical moment coming up.
1st and 10, Jets from the 15-yard line. O'Brien swings it out from McNeil. A couple of nice moves, but really nowhere to go for Freeman. A gain of 2. So it'll be 2nd down and 8.
We looked at Jack Donlin and Gene Upshaw. I wish they'd spend a little more time talking to each other and a little less time talking to the press.
2nd down and 12 from the 13-yard line.
Look out.
O'Brien gets sacked back at the 1 by Brent Williams. And now all of a sudden it's the Patriots who start thinking about taking time out. And they do right here. So New England takes a timeout because the Jets are going to have a 3rd and long, and the Jets have a double problem here because they need some room for Camarillo for Jennings to punt. So the problem on 3rd and long now, you throw an incomplete pass and you back your punter up to the back line.
That's probably what is going through Joe Walton's mind at the moment as he shakes his head. Very emotional. Former teammate of mine in his 5th NFL season now. Fine little receiver. He was about 5'11" or 6 feet. Caught 28 touchdown passes, most of them from Y.A. Tittle in the early 60s.
A teammate of yours, and we want to congratulate you, sir, because your son Jeff and his lovely wife Karen gave birth. He gave birth today to a 7-pound 6-ounce baby girl in Colorado Springs. Grandpa, congratulations.
Thank you. Frankly, they have not named her yet. I've suggested Frank.
Frankette.
That's your 4th grandchild?
Oh, well, I'm glad you added that.
Indeed. Be proud of it.
5 next month with Vicky.
We just want to be accurate. 3rd down and 24 from the 1. And getting out of the end zone just barely is Johnny Hector. McGrew makes the tackle. Slow developing play, and they're still in a lot of trouble right now. Williams is down. That's Toby Williams on the ground at the 2-yard line.
And that'll be a charge timeout to New England, whether they want it or not, inside the last 2 minutes with an injured player. Well, he's feeling better.
In a hurry. It's not a sore throat, we know that.
Patriots down to 1, and I'm sure they would have loved to have kept that extra timeout because they're going to get the ball in all probability in good field position. Dave Jennings, of course, the punter, and it takes a little bit of time, and he'll also have to be very careful when he's back there at the back of the end zone that he does not step out, because if he steps out, it's a safety. Last week against Buffalo on the very first punt, Dave Jennings had to run the football. He's a very bright punter, and he was able to read that would have been blocked, and he made the first down, but he cannot step out of the back of the end zone with 2 points.
He's becoming a marathon man. If you add up his punts through the years, 25.8 miles. And a little more mileage here at an opportune time. Fryer at the 42-yard line, and Irving is taken down at the 38, and with 1 timeout remaining, here come the Patriots.
And it shows you the respect the special teams from the New England Patriots have for Dave Jennings, because they had on a return. They did not have the block on, and the Jets unable to kick from their ordinary spread formation, and you would have suspected they might have had the attempted block on.
Again at halftime, we'll find out directly from Gene Upshaw. Talk to Jack Donlin, Mike Singletary as well on our halftime report. From the 39 now, 1st and 10, 1:07 to go in the half, 6-3 Jets. Eason, and it is incomplete at the 32, intended for Greg Beatty, tight end in his 2nd year from Stanford.
Nobody's airing it out tonight. I continue to be surprised that no one wants to go over the top with the football. Everyone's breaking their patterns off at 7-8 yards. Screens, draws, plays inside. Nobody's willing to challenge for the big play.
Yeah. We've had Morgan open earlier. He just has not held on to it.
2nd and 10. Eason hit down again. It's Crable with the sack at the 45-yard line.
Crable back from that knee surgery a couple of years ago and all the way back. Superb game last week against Buffalo. The leader out there while another man heals up. Lance Snell, who should be coming back in November.
On 3rd and 16, Eason escapes the sack for the moment and then gets run out of bounds, and a flag is down at the 45-yard line.
But that's all Mark Gastineau. Gastineau was at Eason twice. He flushed him early and went full circle and chased him to the sidelines.
And the penalty is a hold against New England.
And if that's against Bruce Armstrong, this may be the triple play for Mark Gastineau. It's got to be pleasing to Jet fans to see Mark Gastineau make a comeback like that. Moving, hustling, showing some burst in the open field. Chase Tony Eason out of bounds and almost get the sack.
Oh, what a tough year it's been for him. He was injured at the beginning of last season, then the knee surgery.
Holding, number 66 offense, still 3rd down.
Paul Fairchild.
He's down from about 290 is Gastineau from last year to about 255. I think it's speeded him up somewhat.
Here's Mark Gastineau lined up. Watch him come in, make the play, and then come all the way back to the sidelines.
You know, an interesting thing here, Dan, the Patriots accept the penalty, or the Jets do, instead of having it 4th down for New England right now. It's 3rd and 27. They took the extra 10 yards. And it's Eason. And it's tipped and intercepted at the 26-yard line by Rich Miano. So it turns out to be a moot point as the Jets get it back.
Rich Miano filling in for Lester Lyles, who was injured, another injured Jet. Keeping the Patriots out of any possible scoring range. Good play by Miano. He's just floating back there. Eason looking to go deep for one of the rare times. Chased out of the pocket. It's deflected. And Miano, filling in for the injured Lester Lyles, is there for the interception.
The play was really going to Irving Fryer, and Harry Hamilton is the guy that gets in there and gets a hand on the football and forces it off of Fryer's hands, and Miano makes the play.
So the Jets now from the 27. O'Brien throws on the run, tipped and caught, and Toon runs out of bounds to stop the clock with 17 seconds.
And those aren't boos. Toon.
The Jets have all of their timeouts, but they only have 17 seconds now.
Running right. That ball is tipped. Rod McSwain gets a hand on it, and Al Toon, keeping an eye on the football, looks it into his hands and makes the play.
3 receivers to the right. And O'Brien starting, and down he goes at the 34-yard line, and that's Kenneth Sims and Milford Hodge, who's in there, who converge on the sack with 9 seconds now on the clock. And they start the clock, and the Jets are in no hurry to take a timeout, apparently. And now they do, and they wasted 5 seconds. I mean, if you're going to call a timeout, you take it with 9.
I think O'Brien was indecisive about it. He looked over the sidelines, and it was indicated from the sidelines you take the timeout. And while they were miscommunicating, they blew out 5 seconds.
And maybe an extra play. And what it means now is you've got to score a touchdown. With 9 seconds, maybe possibly you get within long field goal range. It would have been, you know, on the edge. Now, forget it.
Yeah, forget it now.
Out of it. What it means now is don't do anything silly. The one thing you might try to do is throw one of the Hail Marys and hope you get the defensive foul. And, of course, the old cliche, the half cannot end on a defensive foul, and then you might be able to be in range for some kind of a long field goal.
Well, with the talent they have at wide receiver, the one thing you don't do is sit on the football. 6-3 ball game. You just don't down it and go to the locker room happy with a 3-point lead.
Toon to the left, Walker and Sohn to the right. And they're just going to keep it on the ground. And it's McNeil who springs loose, and Freeman gets run down at the 39-yard line, but that's it for the first half. And who would have thunk it, as the saying goes. Two teams that can score a lot of points. New England last week on a rain-slick field, 28. The Jets with 31 in Buffalo, but no TDs tonight.
And what do I say when we open up the telecast? These two teams don't play many 7-3 ball games. Yeah, nice job, Dan.
That was Dan Deerdorf who's there, folks. Deerdorf is the name. 6-3 at the half. Stick around.
Stadium in New Jersey, the Jets over the New England Patriots 6-3 in a surprisingly low-scoring game. Our halftime is being brought to you by Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. No matter how far you go, Goodyear takes you home. And as we have told you right along throughout the evening, the man of the hour for the moment is in Washington. His name is Gene Upshaw. He is going to join us live from Washington now. Jack Donlan will join us live from our studios, our ABC studios here in New York. And we are going to go first to you, Gene. You are the man of the hour, the man of the moment. What do you have to say? What is the status of the NFL strike, the deadline being tonight?
Well, Frank, when I took over 4.5 years ago as executive director of the Players Association, the players mandated that we take a different course of action, an action which would bring us to a situation where we would not have a strike in the National Football League. Obviously, that course of action did not work because we don't have an agreement. It looks like it's going to take a strike to get the owners of the National Football League to negotiate with the players in good faith. So as of midnight tonight, the players in the National Football League will be on strike once again, and that's really, really sad.
No way this can be averted at this moment. Is that what you're saying, Gene?
Not at this point in time. There's no way that it can be averted. The players have already, in many cities, have cleaned their lockers and then will be in the next couple of days cleaning their lockers because they realize that we've been forced into this action. It's something that none of us wanted to do. It's something that we don't like doing because it's really bad on the fans, it's bad on the players, and it's bad on the owners.
Gene, is there anything that Jack Donlin will have to tell you before you get the players back in uniform, or will it take a complete agreement before the players are in uniform again?
Well, obviously, Jack's hands are tied by a committee that hardliners that realize that their course of action at this time seems to be to break the strike and to break the union. We're on a different course. We're on a course in which we want to reach an agreement that is fair to the players, one which both sides can live with, one in which both sides win, and that's all we're trying to accomplish as players.
Now we'll go to Jack Donlin, Gene. And Jack, the major issue with free agency, that's your understanding of it, and this would be the first time you've heard this. Of course, you've anticipated it. Your thoughts right now?
Well, the facts just don't support what Gene has said. You know, in the last 5 years, under the current system, our players have gone from $90,000 a year to $230,000 a year, and with benefits are $300,000 a year players. We have proposed this time to improve, to liberalize that system. We've also proposed improvements in the pension plan, in the disability plan. We've proposed improvements in the insurance, the medical, the dental, and the health, injury protection, the preseason, postseason pay, and many other types of things. What has the union done in the same period of time? For the last 2 weeks before the expiration of this agreement, they refused to meet with us. They were too busy. They refused every offer we've made to go to mediation. They refused our offer for an extension. And what they've done is they took, with 7 days left, a week ago today, they made their first economic proposal, and that proposal would cost us $200 million more than our last year's costs, and it would throw out the system that I've just explained. So what Gene says is just categorically untrue.
Jack, you are well aware of the fact a major decision was rendered today by arbitrator Tom Roberts to rule that baseball management conspired to restrict free agency. It figures to have far-reaching effect. What does that mean in terms of future negotiation from your standpoint?
Well, I think that just shows the wisdom of the NFL owners who say that we have a system, a good system, a system that has worked. It's worked for the players. It's taken them up to $300,000 a year, and we don't want to throw that system out. Gene suggests that we throw that system out and leave ourselves at the mercy of a federal court somewhere down the road, because either we won't bid on the players and we'll be sued for collusion, or we will bid on the players and we'll be bankrupt like every other sport that's done that. We're not going to do that.
Gene, what is the options of coming back? First of all, let me ask the two of you, who's going to call who? Somebody has got to be in touch with somebody. Who makes the first move here?
Well, obviously, Jack has misstated the facts completely. There is no way he's presented any proposals whatsoever. He's asked for a $98 million take-back from the players. We just can't accept that. As far as who's going to make the first move, I've already initiated a move to a person who I feel has some authority, a person that hopefully can bring this process to a speedy and fast conclusion.
Gene Upshaw, Jack Donlin, we're going to be coming back. Your marks will be live, and we're also going to be going out to Chicago, where we are going to be joined by Mike Singletary. He, of course, is the great middle linebacker for the Bears, but also there's a player rep for the Bears, and we'll be back with that in a moment.
Representatives, do you think that this union is solid enough, that things are binding enough, that all of the teams will go on strike tomorrow?
Well, I certainly hope so. I think the players and the player reps realize the importance of this particular bargaining agreement. And I think we've been networking and talking to one another and really trying to educate our players as to what the points are and what the issues are. And I feel that the union will, if not right now, by tomorrow, will be totally solid consolidated.
Gene Upshaw, our understanding is that the teams will meet tomorrow, and we understand that Mark Murphy from your organization will be with the New England Patriots up in New England. There is some question as to whether the New England Patriots are in agreement. Could you maybe further enlighten us on that they are going to have a meeting in their parking lot tomorrow morning before their regular team meeting in the afternoon?
Well, I know that Mark has met with the New England Patriots. We're confident that the New England Patriots will be like every team in the National Football League, and they will honor the strike. It's amazing that we're forced into this action, but we have to take this step. The only way that the owners in the National Football League will ever bargain with us, we have to go on strike to do it. They've never bargained with us until we're on strike, and this is no different this time around.
Final question from Mike Singletary. Does it take an agreement to get you back to work, or just hearing the right things from Donlin?
Well, really, I think to get us back to work as players and player reps, we have to feel that we have something on the table that's worth going back for. And that's the most important thing. That's the bottom line.
Okay, Mike Singletary, we thank you for being with us this evening. Jack Donlin of the NFL, and of course Gene Upshaw from the Players Association. We'll be back. Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands.
To go, and there are the halftime stats.
Nothing impressive on either side except that one minus figure with the Patriots, not even in positive yardage. Those because of the sacks, -7 yards. Wide receivers of that talent.
Well, you talk about distractions. They may not have televisions in the locker rooms, but you better know that 90 guys know they're going out on strike tomorrow as they prepare to play the second half. 6-3, New York, as Franklin puts it in the air, and it's taken at the 14-yard line by Townsell. And Townsell out to the 29-yard line, stopped by Rod McSwain. And this ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Valvoline High Performance Motor Oil. Valvoline, because motor oil is not just motor oil. By Nissan, who invites you to test drive the hot new Nissan car or truck and see why Nissan makes you feel like driving. And by Tandy Computers, there is no better value. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Deerdorf in what is right now definitely the final game before the strike. 1st and 10 New York at the 29-yard line. And it's caught by Walker out at the 45-yard line. Wesley Walker makes the catch for a first down. Dan, what about your thoughts in regard to the announcement at halftime?
Well, I don't think it came as a surprise, that's for sure. It's somewhat of a concern to me that I don't see really any anguish on the parts of Jack Donlin and Gene Upshaw. If I didn't know better, I'd say here are two men that are really getting what they were looking for. I really get the feeling that that's what Gene Upshaw was looking for. He wants to show some strength to try to get them to the bargaining table, and Jack Donlin doesn't strike me as a man all that upset about it.
They're looking at Kenny O'Brien for the moment, but it did appear that way. You can't really quite comprehend, however, what probably is going through their minds. Gene Upshaw has been around talking to the player reps, as he did with you, Dan, when you represented St. Louis back in '82. There's been tremendous pressure on both of them. One has to wonder, as they look at Kenny O'Brien, and we'll send in Pat Ryan, but one has to wonder, could they get this settled maybe in time to even get this weekend's games on, or are we going to skip a week and we're going to see makeup teams?
There they are per game, and that's what they'll miss out on. You saw O'Brien go to the sideline with a contact lens that had become dislodged, and thus Pat Ryan, the number 2 quarterback who started in the playoffs last year, is in for the moment and gives it to Johnny Hector out to the 46-yard line.
Every Monday you pick up 1/16 of your salary. Now those high-priced players understand the sacrifice they're making for their lesser-paid brothers. They will never recoup the money in benefits, even if there's free agency, if this is an extended strike. You really have to look at those high-priced guys, and I kind of admire them for making a sacrifice to go out for really what's going to be the betterment of players who make a lot less money.
2nd down and 7 from the 47-yard line. While O'Brien fixes the contact lens problem, Schuler takes the pass from Ryan and works it down to the 46-yard line for a first down.
And when you're talking about money and you're talking about the higher priced players, if the strike should parallel that of 1982 and go some 7 weeks, you're looking at a loss for Jim Kelly of some $600,000 plus.
Crowd didn't like the spot, and they're going to measure. It appeared to be a first down initially, and now it's close enough for a measurement. The significant difference in this strike, of course, is the last time they just stopped. Now, of course, they're going to stop this weekend as of the moment and resume again a week from Sunday, supposedly.
With waived players, and many of them have been contacted. The teams have begun that process over a week ago.
I'm glad we go Monday night rather than Sunday. It'll be refreshing to watch someone else have to deal with it first.
Also, it'll be interesting to see what happens with those players when they do come in, and if indeed it does happen, there are players that probably would like to wait another year and come back and try again, players that might have been called in later in this year. And when this is all resolved, it'll be interesting to see the reaction of the regular players when they come back to the players who participate.
Third down and 1. After what the Jets felt was a faulty spot. Instead of a first down, 3rd and inches at the 46-yard line. And that's Cleaver in motion. And through the middle goes Nu'ufaa'aola, 9th-round pick out of Hawaii last year, and that's a first down.
Now, you spent a lot of time in Hawaii.
Well,
what is that?
I'll tell you what it is. That's a nickname, actually.
There it is.
There it is. It is Sinata's-Linu'ufaa'aola.
I see why you phased it.
Yeah, I lived in Hawaii, and I used to do high school basketball with 5 Samoans on a fast break, and if you blew a name, the father would come down to the station with a machete the next day. First down at the 45-yard line as O'Brien gets sacked back at his own 49.
One release we had earlier from the National Football League Management Council advising us that players who do report will be paid their salaries, and that provisions are being made to refund the money to season ticket holders. Either refund the money to the season ticket holders if they do not want to take in the games that will be created, or they can take a credit for season tickets for the 1988 season.
I think the whole thing stinks. I'd rather talk about the football game.
And very bad.
Second down and 16. McNeil was the man in motion, and O'Brien gets sacked again back at the 41-yard line as the Patriots come roaring through, led by Don Blackman.
O'Brien's going to rip out of contact here in a moment.
Well, his offensive line is just disintegrating right around him. That time, Donnie Blackman crushes Jim Sweeney, the left tackle, all the way back to O'Brien, and then it's just easy picking. Watch on the bottom, Don Blackman. Actually, that's Ted Banker, the left guard, that pulls out, but drives him all the way, knocks O'Brien off stride. He has no choice other than just hit the deck when he sees Tippett coming in all alone.
The revamp side of that line, on the right side with Alexander at tackle, Fields at guard, and Bingham at center is holding up rather well.
Right.
Third down, 23 from the 41-yard line. O'Brien to Toon, and there he was, and Al Toon gets free for the touchdown, but a penalty marker is down at the 33-yard line. A flag is down at the 33.
They knew we'd have to hear from him sometime. He's a great receiver.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer,
Toon really has it all. Touchdown will stand, but he's a big, strong receiver who'll come over the middle. He's great on possession. He can take it deep. He can do it all. And this time O'Brien gets it into him. Had a blitz coming, as you can see. Lepet from the outside. Toon just rips it out of the arms of Claiborne and uses the speed to get in the end zone.
So Al Toon, to a chorus of his name, into the end zone with Leahy for the extra point. And the Jets, slight underdogs with 11:30 to go in the third quarter, now lead 13-3.
Their advantage is to being 6'4", but Raymond Claiborne, one of the best, gives Toon the inside, then plays Toon, has him, just can't hold on. We asked where was Altoon? Just waiting for the right moment. The Jets open it up.
By 10, 13-3 with 11:30 to play in the third quarter.
The key to that play, and we'll take a look at it after the kick, was the play of Jim Bowman, the free safety, and they're going to kick this baby off from the 50-yard line.
Because of the personal foul, because of the running the passer. And he'll kick that one to just about Hackensack.
Let's look at the touchdown play again to Altoon. Altoon lining up here at the bottom. Watch him move. Start rolling the tape, and Altoon is going to make his break to the inside. Now watch the free safety right there in the middle of the field. Jump Mickey Schuler, the tight end. Rather than staying in the middle of the field, giving Raymond Claiborne some help, he jumps Mickey Schuler. Altoon, after breaking Claiborne's tackle, uncontested all the way to the goal line.
Excellent read by O'Brien, too. He knew exactly who would be man for man.
From the 20-yard line, it's Eason to Collins, and Collins is stopped after a gain of 4 by Bob Crable, the outside backer, and Russell Carter, the corner. Second down and 6. Tony Collins, big day last week. Again, he was going to share time out of the backfield with Craig James. James last week said on the sideline, hey, the day Tony's having, leave him in there. And Ray Berry did. James carried just once. James shaken up in the first half tonight, and so Collins seeing a lot of duty tonight as well. Tupu now. Out to the 26-yard line, and it's third down and 4.
Jets doing well on offense, but in defense they have too. We've watched 2 fine rookies tonight. Alex Gordon, the linebacker, Gerald Nichols, the nose tackle, and keep in mind Marty Lyons coming back from double shoulder surgery in the offseason. Gastineau not all the way back 100% yet from knee surgery. Still missing is Lance Mell. But they're getting the job done tonight. It has to please Joe Walton.
Third down and 4 from the 26-yard line. And it's caught by Cedric Jones for a first down out at the 34-yard line. Under 10 minutes to play in the third quarter. 13-3 Jets.
And you really have to admire the way the Jets have played, both offensively and defensively tonight. On paper, this game looks like a mismatch. New England, a much more talented team, but they're being outplayed emotionally by the Jets.
First and 10 from the 34 with Fryer in motion, and Collins goes nowhere, fumbles. Gordon fighting for the football. And Jerry Seaman confirms that New York has recovered. Russell Carter recovered.
And is that Bob Crable that makes that hit? What a stick in the backfield, helmet on football. And Ray Berry wonders why his team has gone to sleep.
One does not wonder whether Joe Walton is going to try and strike quickly. Whatever he relayed to O'Brien had a whole lot of verbiage in it. That usually means pass.
Oh, and the ball is loose. Collins doesn't have the football before Crable gets there.
First down, New York now at the Patriot 30-yard line. And O'Brien to Toon again. First down at the 15 for the chorus of Toon. Stopped by Ronnie Lepet.
They found him. Lepet, 5'11", 180 pounds, giving up an awful lot to Altoon, 6'4" and 205.
Let's look again and see how the Jets got the ball. Out of the eye, Tony Collins never has the football. It looked like a good position by Eason putting the ball right in his stomach, but he never controlled it.
From the 15, O'Brien to Schuler to the 9. It'll be second and 4.
On the sidelines, there he is, Bud Carson, the defensive coordinator. He does this a couple of times a game. He'll bring them together, quiet them down, settle them down, and very good at adjustments. Former defensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers through 3 of their Super Bowl teams. He's been around.
Second down 4. Jets at the 9. Walker is in motion. And it's Freeman McNeil trying to fight his way for a first down, stopped by Andre Tippett, and he's real close. The Jets, people wondering which were the real Jets last year, and when you look back, they weren't as good as 10-1 would indicate, but they certainly weren't as bad as getting blown out their last 5 would indicate. There was some middle ground, but they're making a pretty good statement tonight. That much, says Seaman. They are shy. It's third down and inches.
They're on the verge of forcing New England completely out of whatever game plan it was they brought with them tonight. It's difficult to tell. They haven't executed in any way.
Maybe force them into the right one.
That's the ball that New England's been playing with this evening.
Yeah.
But a 20-3 lead, which the Jets are threatening to take, really is going to force New England out of any running game they were going to try to establish tonight.
Third down and inches from the 5. Cleaver moving. Hector. And Hector is in for the touchdown.
Joe Walton loves his power. He had the 3 tight ends in the lineup. Mickey Schuler, number 82. Griggs at the wingback position. And he brings Rocky Cleaver, the other tight end, who gets a good block on Claiborne that springs Hector into the end zone. Just sheer power. Our men are bigger than yours.
Ryan holding for Leahy. And the Jets strike quickly twice. And Joe Walton looking on as his team now leads by 17.
Nothing new seeing Cleaver in motion. He takes the kick out from the inside. Number 63, Ted Banker, clears out Steve Nelson. Johnny Hector does the rest. I don't think the Patriots are buying this one at all.
Guy they like to go to in short yardage situations. It was third and inches. And he gained 5 yards and those inches, and that's his 3rd touchdown of the season. He scored twice at Brick Stadium in Buffalo last Sunday. 20-3, New York. Leahy's kick taken at the 14-yard line by Tony Collins. And back he comes out to the 32-yard line. Meanwhile, the Jets, last year so porous defensively, especially at the end. You can see they set an NFL record by allowing over 274 passing yards per game. So they were very porous. And tonight, well, that's really the story of the game.
And 5 sacks tonight defensively. Last year, they only had 28. The Raiders led the league with 63.
And who would have believed New England was 4 yards passing tonight? And they still can't hold on to the football. Beatty drops in. Remember, it was Morgan who got them off to that inauspicious beginning by dropping 2 on one drive.
There is not a team in the league that has more quality, and I say more quality wide receivers, than the New England Patriots. Stanley Morgan, Cedric Jones, Irving Fryer, Stephen Starring. I mean, it's unbelievable that these guys have 4 passing yards. Now, granted, Grogan was supposed to start tonight, but Tony Eason hasn't been off.
No, he led him to a Super Bowl. 2nd down and 10. And it's Beatty, again the intended receiver.
Grogan is calling the plays.
They are just completely out of sync for whatever reason.
Well, having a meeting with the Players Association on the morning of a game, I don't think helps you a whole lot to put your game face on.
Well, I don't know if that's the Jets ought to have one every day. I mean, they've been talking and thinking about strike as much as the Patriots have. It hasn't seemed to hurt them a great deal.
Maybe Joe put them all in the shower and they don't know there is a strike.
3rd down and 10 from the 33. And And that's also incomplete. Intended for Morgan, and he would have been short of the first down anyway.
Easton, as we said earlier, it was a holdout until about the, third week, Dan, when we went up to do the Giants game. Signed a one-year contract, not terribly happy about that, and had a pulled muscle right after that. And Ray Berry was not going to start him, not even going to play him last week. Had anything happen to Grogan. But because of Grogan having a stiff neck and shoulder to start tonight's game, he had to come with him.
Canario to kick. Townsell back at his own 28 for the Jets. Townsell at the 28 with no blocking at all and dropped at the 24-yard line. Johnny Rembert making the tackle. 7:03 to go in the third period. It's East Rutherford 20 and Foxborough 3. Dan Deerdorf at Giant Stadium, East Rutherford at halftime. Gene Upshaw announcing that teams will go on strike after this game. And so this is the final game before the players walk. The Jets trying to make the most of it, leading 20-3. And it's Roger Vick going through the middle. Vick out to the 32. Meanwhile, for the Jets, O'Brien has completed 10 in a row, and he's 14 of 18 tonight.
It's a good move by Joe Walton to send Roger Vick up inside. The Jets don't have much of a between-the-tackle running game, and Roger Vick, I was impressed yesterday with his size. He's 6'3", 232. In the era of a lot of small backs, he's a big man.
2nd and 2 at the 32. He fumbles, does Vick, and it's picked up by Pickett, and he is in for the touchdown.
Vick carrying that ball very loosely.
And running straight up and down as well.
Down, you turn back into the pile, and you've got to tuck that thing away.
You have to lower your shoulder to protect the football. Roger Vick that time straight up and down, Frank, exposing the ball.
Watch how he handles it. In the hand. Now he puts it on the inside. If he's going to carry it anywhere, it should be on the outside, and dip that shoulder, cover up the football. It's very expensive.
Lawrence McGrew
everywhere.
Lawrence McGrew makes the hit, forces a fumble, and Andre Tippett does the rest.
And that will get the Patriots right back into the game. Exactly what Berry needed. Franklin kicks it through, and with 6:20 to go in the third, it's all of a sudden 20-10 Jets. Last week it was an interception returned by Lepet for a touchdown that turned out to be the game winner.
Vick again. He's got it on the left hand. He breaks to the inside, tries to change hands with it. He should have covered it up, or at least kept it in the outside hand, because it's hit on the inside shoulder, as it usually is.
Getting New England right back into the game with a fumble return. 20-10, the Jets on top. Now, you heard what happened at the half. If for some reason they do play next Monday, that would be the matchup for week 3, Denver against Cleveland. And it's possible, you take a look at recent strike history, it wouldn't be unprecedented. Franklin kicks off. Townsell from the 8. And to the 30. Cuts it back. JoJo Townsell taken down from behind at the 39-yard line. Ernest Gibson saving the touchdown.
One big play deserves another.
Dan, he's not even the man they like to see handle that football back there. Bobby Humphrey is the man they like to see handle it, number 48.
And he becomes the lead blocker, but head upfield.
And effective it was, that block by Humphrey. And then a good cut back to the inside that'll tack on about 20 more yards for Townsell. Good, versatile, all-around athlete, good receiver.
And Ernest Gibson with a tackle, and they both land right on the tee.
32-yard line. O'Brien hits Schuler to the 24 for a gain of close to 8. It'll be 2nd down and 2.
That kickoff return, those are the kind of plays that just drive coaches wild.
Especially after you get right back into the game.
That's exactly right. You're really struggling, 20-3. You get the big break. You think that's going to ignite your team. And what happens? It's almost negated.
2nd down and 2 at the 24. Roger Vick to the 22.
I like that. You come right back and give it to him, the youngster out of Texas A&M. You know he's a solid football player, and he's going to learn to cover that up because he was hit hard down there in the Southwest Conference. But when you're a running back in this league and you get any kind of a reputation at all, you fumble the football, you are going to have to watch it for years to come because they're going to be punching on that ball, they're going to be pulling on it, hitting it in every way possible. And he'll learn. He's big, he's strong, and Joe shows a lot of confidence. First play after he fumbles and gives up the touchdown, they come right back to him.
Third down inches, Jets at the 22. 4:50 to play, third quarter. Jets by 10. Play fake, throwing, first down to Schuler, to the 12.
Oh, I like that play calling. They really suckered the Patriots. They bring in a 3 tight end offense. They're big backs, and they go to the play action, and boy, do they catch New England napping. Mickey Schuler just on a simple crossing pattern. The Patriots back in his zone, but playing the run all the way. Good, smart call.
Broke under Marion and took it right in front of Claiborne.
Mickey Schuler in his 10th year. 1st and 10 at the 12. Toon in motion. O'Brien loses the ball and then falls on it at the 15. Starting to roll to his right. And he loses 3. Jets, Schuler, the tight end. Toon gets back into the game after a silent first half.
Ken O'Brien making a lot of friends tonight, spreading it around. Schuler, though, he is the clever one. He will find the open spot as he did a moment ago in that little zone defense. Instead of breaking it all the way out, getting in trouble with the cornerback Claiborne, pulled it up, and they get a key play.
2nd and 13 from the 15. To the 12, about the original line of scrimmage, so it'll be 3rd down. 3rd and 10. It's Ken Sims making the stop. Jets, as you can see, very effective when they get inside the 20. Last year, almost 2/3 of the time, crossing the goal line, and the NFL average slightly more than half.
Oddly enough, the Dolphins, they were the only team that was better in the league. Used them in Clayton and Duper with them.
3rd down call at 9 at the 11. And O'Brien pressured, throws, flag down in the end zone. O'Brien with his pocket collapsing, firing through the middle, and let's see about the flag.
Well, it was thrown by the back judge from the back of the end zone, but he threw it clear up beyond the 5-yard line.
Against New England.
9 times out of 10, that's what the call will be.
Holding, number 57 defense, prior to the pass. First down.
Steve Nelson.
And on an incomplete 3rd down pass, an automatic 1st down on the hold. Double indemnity.
And from the 14-year man, you don't see it often.
Big play. 1st and goal at the 6. Nothing doing for McNeil. He loses 3. McGrew is there to trip him up.
Good read by McGrew. He just stepped right in behind the pulling guard, trailed the play, and was able to run it down. Others will find student athletes.
Yeah, right.
My alma mater.
There are 32 former Trojans now playing in the NFL. 33 Penn State Nittany Lions. They've taken the lead. So when are you making your comeback?
Well, maybe week after next.
I don't know. Stick around. There'll be new teams next week.
2nd and goal. Hector in there. Boy, you talk about a guy who can smell the goal line. Johnny Hector has already scored 4 touchdowns in the first 2 weeks.
Dan, Joe is getting a tremendous job out of this offensive line, makeshift as it is.
Well, something they do is run well. Look how the whole line pulls. Jim Sweeney, 53, out in front. Let's see his block. Pushes his man to the inside. That's all he had to do was screen, and Johnny Hector into the end zone. That line is short. They're stocky, and they all run. It's almost like an entire offensive line of guards.
Leahy with Ryan holding. And after New England gets a big break and gets right back into the game, the Jets, thanks in good measure to Townsell's great run back and a very fortuitous penalty at the end of the drive, cash in for 7.
A great answer to that turnover touchdown. Let's watch Hector once again. Right out in front of it.
The key block was Mickey Schuler pinning Don Blackman to the inside. That's what made it happen.
And Sweeney pulling from the far side was right there.
And that's a sight the Patriots have seen with regularity. Last year when New York went up to Foxborough and beat the Patriots, Hector scored 3 touchdowns in that game.
Well, you know, Joe would have liked to have had this offensive line together when he went to Cleveland. That double overtime loss to the Browns after they knocked off Kansas City in the playoffs. Here's Joe Walton, but he went into Cleveland. Everyone was hurt. His entire defensive line, the starting 3, had been out for 5 weeks, and he went into Cleveland leading literally with a fife and drum.
Well, a reminder, 2 new comedies premiering on ABC this Wednesday, Hooperman and Slap Maxwell, from the creators of Hill Street Blues and L.A. Law. John Ritter is Detective Harry Hooperman. And then Dabney Coleman is sports writer Slap Maxwell. Hooperman and Slap Maxwell premiering Wednesday at 9, 8 Central on ABC.
That'll be some openings for somebody named Slap Maxwell.
Yeah, right.
Wonder if he's a critic.
Yeah, right. Another. At the 1-yard line, Stephen Starring takes it out to the 17. Tracy Martin again in on the tackle. It's 2 in a row for Martin on special teams.
This team may be beat up. The Jets may have eliminated all the injuries that have taken place over the past year. But I'll tell you, they're hitting. They're playing Joe Walton's kind of football. He got rid of a bunch of players here a couple of years ago. Was highly criticized for making some moves with some pretty major names, beginning with Richard Todd. But he brought in players that he wanted. Players he said maybe were less physical, maybe didn't have the talent, but he knew they would play 100%. And that's what he's fielding tonight.
1st and 10 from the 17-yard line. Eason throws and dropped. Another drop at the 23-yard line. This time it's Irving Fryer who gets into the act. Irving, who has become far more notorious for off-the-field exploits than on. Pretty quiet, though, this year, trying to, well, until they called the strikes, trying to just think about football and do his job.
So you want to go for a little drive at halftime.
Yeah, right. 2nd down and 10 from the 18-yard line. Over the middle to Mosi Tutupu, and he takes it out to the 24-yard line. Well, the Patriots tonight, minus Grogan, who would have started. They also wanted to get that man, Craig James, a lot of playing time, but he was shaken up in the first half, so they've been going with Collins for the most part in the backfield. And right now, what they're going to do is go to the air a lot because they're down by 17.
Those numbers for James from a year ago, 427 yards. The year before, he had over 1,200 yards.
3rd and 3. Going deep for Starring. Double covered, incomplete.
Well, it was pretty. It spiraled for about 60 yards.
Yeah, it looked real nice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the New England passing game has become, dare I use the word, an embarrassment.
Tonight, why you even try to get rid of this? Eason ordinarily reads it rather well. 2 men covering. Mayano, Holmes were both back there. Eason somehow tried to throw it in there. He was just fortunate it was not picked off.
There had to be someone somewhere who was only single covered.
There's Townsell, whose great kickoff return negated the break for New England on Tippett's fumble return. As the Jets cashed in, they lead by a score of 27-10. Camarillo to kick with 1:10 to play. 3rd period. Townsell at the 31. Great move. There he goes again. Beautiful. To the 40.
That's worth the price of the ticket.
That's pretty. That's just downright pretty. It's not what you're taught to do. You head upfield.
Look at those feet.
I guess if you stand in one place long enough, they'll pass you.
He has got those feet moving around. No one has a clue where he's going. Finally, Ed Brittles is there.
What
Another great return.
What an effort by JoJo Townsell.
Put that baby to a music video. 1st and 10 at the 40-yard line. Swing it out to McNeil. And he's hit at the line of scrimmage by Ronnie Lepet. And Lepet, a little slow in getting up. Lepet last week, the interception on a tipped pass that turned out to be the game-winning touchdown against Miami.
We're going to take a look at Lepet. They've already lost Roland James, arthroscopic surgery in July. They're starting strong safety. Lepet is coming off, but he looks to be all right.
Meanwhile, as you look at Mark Gastineau, his offense out on the field right now.
Mark is downright sleep. 255.
Yeah.
Tried to play last year, 290. Off the weights.
Meanwhile, as he looks on, his quarterback, O'Brien, has now completed his last 13. And remember, Ryan came in when O'Brien's contact was dislodged, and Ryan completed his one pass. So the Jets have completed their last 14 in a row against one of the best secondaries in football. The club record is held by O'Brien at 17, and the clock is running down, and that is the end of the 3rd quarter. 15 minutes to play in the season. Who knows? At least here tonight, 27-10. Back after this word about an upcoming show on ABC and a word from your local station. The 4th quarter at Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Jets on top of the Patriots, 27-10. That wish for the moment has not been granted. Gene Upshaw announcing halftime tonight. The strike begins after the game. For the moment, we still go on. 27-10, the Jets. And it's 2nd down and 11 at the 41-yard line. As O'Brien gives the ball to Hector through the middle. And he takes it to the 33-yard line. All right, let's go to baseball for the moment and update you as to what's been taking place. Boston wins, they knock off Detroit, and Toronto wins, so the Blue Jays lead the Tigers by a half game in the East. Yankees rained out at Milwaukee. Cleveland beats Oakland. Minnesota was off, so Oakland is now 4 back, and there are the other scores. In the National League, Mets win. Johnson hits a grand slam. Hojo another home run. Cardinals win. They stay 2.5 in front. Montreal now 4 back. They lose to Pittsburgh, and the Giants on their way to a title in the West lead in the 2nd inning, 2-0 San Francisco.
Have you ever done baseball, Al? You did that pretty good.
So you did that so slick.
Hey, listen, I'll still be working. I know that. You guys will be lounging around in the pool.
Sure we will.
3rd down and 3 at the 33-yard line. O'Brien in and out of the hands of Johnny Hector about the only thing he's done wrong tonight, and that's the end of the streak for O'Brien. The NFL record, by the way, is 20 straight. Ken Anderson of the Bengals back in 1983 against Houston, so he comes up 6 shy.
O'Brien, a lot like Kenny Anderson, too, and he is streaky hot. When he gets it going, he really gets it going. And I talked about the damage to his psyche from a year ago when he was benched for the playoffs. Kenny O'Brien appears to be back. He's a cool, level-headed youngster, no major problems, and a great talent.
Some of the fans making noise as Dave Jennings comes out on the field, but really the only move Joe Walton can make. Got a 17-point lead. You're in the 4th quarter. Go ahead, go for the corner, pin them back. The way New England has looked offensively, I wouldn't take any chances with setting them up with anything close to decent field position.
And they'll take the penalty here, which hardly matters. Delay in the game, New England may decline it.
It's almost standard procedure now when you get in close. Here is the call.
We have delay of game offense. The penalty will be declined. 4th down.
5 more yards, not affecting Dave Jennings whatsoever in the way he wants to kick the football. He was looking perhaps for an offside, and the Jets now just overwhelming in total yards. They're dominating on land, in the air, and on the sea if it were around here.
I'm stunned by those figures. 60 yards total offense for the Patriots. That's just embarrassing.
Only close because of that fumble in return for the touchdown.
Little high pop fly. And the Jets are going to down it at the 2.
Dave Jennings, he's been around for a long time. He can do that as well as anything. By the way, he credits Bill Belichick, the defensive coordinator of the Giants. He used to be the special teams coach with his long career in this league.
Pretty happy man tonight because his team, a slight underdog, on top by a score of 27-10, and Raymond Berry, who watched his team win here last year and then lose in Foxborough, is in arrears by 17, and his team begins this drive from its own 3-yard line. 13:57 to go, 4th period. Flea Flecker doesn't work. Katupu holds on, and safety.
Oh, that's a bogus call there.
What did they expect to happen down there? That's not a good call down there. You're going to get penetration. They're looking for the safety to begin with. You're going to get the deep penetration. Chances are you're never going to get that lateral off.
I think Steve Grogan pulled more than a neck muscle if he called that play.
He might have consulted Ray Berry before he tried that one. You're going to get penetration. There's no way you can avoid it. Defensive linemen have their lips pulled back, the froth coming out of their mouth. They're going to penetrate. You're not going to get that lateral. You're not going to get the pass off.
You look at that and wonder why Katupu didn't flip it back. The reason was Bob Crable was standing right beside Tony Eason. So Katupu had no chance other than to eat the football and try to get out of the end zone. But
yeah, Katupu, by not flipping it back, saved 5 points.
That's the man who calls most of them. Whether or not he had an assist on that is hard to tell.
They've credited it to Marty Lyons. There he is. 2 points.
Coming back from double shoulder surgery in the offseason.
So it's 29-10. Jets on top. That beat up Jet defense last year, and we've touched on it tonight. Flecko's still out. Mills still out. Baldwin out. And Lyons, after double shoulder surgery, in. And doing the job. And on the scoreboard for the first time in his career.
Doing the job. They're dominating.
Patriots ought to consider moving Andre Tippett into the offensive backfield. He's been the only man to advance the football for them tonight.
Camarillo's free kick travels 50 yards and is run back to the 41-yard line by Townsend. At halftime, when we were talking to Gene Upshaw, he indicated at one point that there was somebody who could step in and help settle the dispute. And we further checked with Upshaw, and his quote is, "The individual is someone in authority. He knows who he is. Hopefully we will be able to tell you something tomorrow." That is Upshaw's quote.
Well, this is probably not Secretary of State Schultz. He's been busy. It'll be very interesting.
O'Brien from the 43-yard line. And across the 50 goes Johnny Hector.
Watch the lead blocking here at the point of attack. Ted Banker, the off guard, pulls through the hole. Again, Cleaver in motion, but Roger Vick, look at him come into Andre Tippett, seals him to the outside, and if Freeman McNeil, if Johnny Hector rather, doesn't trip over the top of Ted Banker, He's going to get at least another 10 yards.
There he is, the intermediary, right there. He'll settle it all.
He can do it.
He knows who he is.
Not sure about that.
Maybe it's Vanna White.
First down from the 46. And it's Hector to the 45 for a gain of 1. Second down and 9.
It could turn into a good game show, couldn't it? Who is the one?
You know, I mentioned before, as you look at the second half possessions for the New York Jets resulting in 3 touchdowns. Recent strike history, baseball strike 72, beginning of the year lasted about a week and a half. Baseball strike 81, a third of the season. Football strike 82, 8 weeks. But the baseball strike in 85, 1 day. Through the middle goes Hector. And I don't mean to tie this into anything that we know, but you guys recall in 85 when the baseball players walked, it was at the height of acrimony, and that one looked like it was going to wipe out the season. The next thing you know, they're playing in 24 hours.
Could have a whole lot to do with the increasing number of zeros that are involved in every such action on both parts. We've already talked about a 7-game strike. What it would mean to Jim Kelly at Buffalo. We're not just picking him out, but it would mean over 600,000 to him. And what about Bill Solomon, the owner of the Patriots, in economic problems? Will he be forced to sell his ball club? Some of the Patriot players think so.
Joe Robbie with his new stadium.
3rd and 8. Johnny Hector makes the catch, and he stopped at the 41-yard line.
Endless economic carryovers from a strike, as there always is in a strike. The people who work at the stadium, parking attendants, everyone involved. Not to mention mortgages, part of the players, wives who had big plans for Christmas. You've been there, Dan. It gets a little antsy.
It does get a little antsy, but I think the players and management have to be realistic. The fans really don't give a hoot about all that.
Well, they learned that in '82. They found out that a lot of things to do in the fall. Baseball,
fans are bored to tears with this. Jennings into the end zone. And with 10:44 now to play in the 4th period, the view from above. The Jets lead 29-10.
Smile on Jack.
10:44 to go. Final game of the second week. Frank, what's your feeling as to how long this strike will last?
I don't think the statement that was made tonight, and I don't mean the words, but I mean the statement by the association, can mean it could be anything, at least canceling at least 1 game for certain. I don't think they'll come back to the Cleveland game. This could be a long one. This philosophy as much as money.
Eason throws, and it's caught by Starring. Inbounds at the 32. Dan, what do you think? How long will it last?
Oh, I don't. How can you speculate on that, Al? I mean, I never thought it would get this far. I mean, I'm a little discouraged that we're to the state here to where they're going to walk out. I agree with Frank. I don't see how they're going to be out for less than 1 game. Looks like the wheels are in motion where no meetings are set. I mean, how quickly could they get it done if they made up their minds they wanted to do it tonight?
Yeah. There is a lot to be settled in. I mentioned philosophy, and you are much more passionate about philosophy than you are money.
1st and 10 from the 33, and Irving Fryer makes the catch, and he is ridden down right away by Kerry Glenn.
A lot of the people I know that are passionate about philosophy are people that already have money. Isn't that the truth? It's easier to be passionate about your philosophy. You've got a little cash in the bank.
2nd and 6 from the 36. Collins. And Glenn makes the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and about 2.
And what's the other key profundity? Nothing is deader after the revolution than the revolutionary.
Or the guy who quit smoking.
Not pretty, is it, Ray?
He may be wishing they'd leave now.
Yeah. 3rd and 2. Beatty makes the catch, and that's a first down for New England at the 44-yard line with 9.5 to go.
New England is a team with a little more on their minds than perhaps other teams involved in the strike. We've been told by one of the officials that there is a lot of concern on the part of the players about the economic problems of Billy Sullivan, and many of the veteran players are very close to Bill Sullivan, who is going to be put in a tremendous bind and might be forced to sell his ball club.
From the 45, it's Beatty, and he takes it to the 46. In fact, the potential sale was being held up because of the possibility that the Sullivan family felt existed, that the team would conceivably be moved. And that's one thing they want to avoid. That's one thing they want to touch on it tonight. Klecko's still out. Mills still out. Baldwin out. And Lyons, after double shoulder surgery, in. And doing the job. And on the scoreboard for the first time in his career.
They're on the job. They're dominating. Patriots ought to consider moving Andre Tippett into the offensive backfield. He's been the only man to advance the football for them tonight.
Camarillo's free kick travels 50 yards and is run back to the 41-yard line by Townsend. At halftime, when we were talking to Gene Upshaw, he indicated at one point that there was somebody who could step in and help settle the dispute. And we further checked with Upshaw, and his quote is, "The individual is someone in authority. He knows who he is. Hopefully we will be able to tell you something tomorrow." That is Upshaw's quote.
Well, it's probably not Secretary of State Schultz. He's been busy. It'll be very interesting.
O'Brien from the 43-yard line. And across the 50 goes Johnny Hector.
Watch the lead blocking here at the point of attack. Ted Banker, the off guard, pulls through the hole. Again, Cleaver in motion, but Roger Vick, look at him come into Andre Tippett, seals him to the outside, and if Johnny Hector rather doesn't trip over the top of Ted Banker, he's going to get at least another 10 yards.
There he is, the intermediary right there. He'll settle it all.
He can do it.
He knows who he is.
Not sure about that.
Maybe a fan of white.
First down from the 46. And it's Hector to the 45 for a gain of 1. Second down and 9.
Could turn into a good game show, couldn't it? Who is the one?
You know, I mentioned before, as you look at the second half possessions for the New York Jets resulting in 3 touchdowns. Recent strike history, baseball strike 72, beginning of the year lasted about a week and a half. Baseball strike 81, a third of the season. Football strike 82, 8 weeks. But the baseball strike in 85, 1 day. Through the middle goes Hector. And I don't mean to tie this into anything that we know, but you guys recall in 85 when the baseball players walked, it was at the height of acrimony, and that one looked like it was going to wipe out the season. The next thing you know, they're playing in 24 hours.
Could have a whole lot to do with the increasing number of zeros that are involved in every such action on both parts. We've already talked about a 7-game strike, what it would mean to Jim Kelly at Buffalo. We're not just picking him out, but it would mean over 600,000 to him. And what about Bill Sullivan, the owner of the Patriots, in economic problems? Will he be forced to sell his ball club? Some of the Patriot players think so.
Joe Robbie with his new stadium.
3rd and 8. Johnny Hector makes the catch, and he stopped at the 41-yard line.
Endless economic carryovers from a strike, as there always is in a strike. The people who work at the stadium, parking attendants, everyone involved. Not to mention mortgages, part of the players, wives who have big plans for Christmas. You've been there, Dan. It gets a little antsy.
It does get a little antsy, but I think the players and management have to be realistic. The fans really don't give a hoot about all that.
Well, they learned that in '82. They found out a lot of things to do in the fall. Baseball,
fans are bored to tears with this. Jennings into the end zone. And with 10:44 now to play in the 4th period, The view from above. The Jets lead 29-10.
Smile on Jack.
10:44 to go. Final game of the second week. Frank, what's your feeling as to how long this strike will last?
I don't think the statement that was made tonight, and I don't mean the words, but I mean the statement by the association, can mean it could be anything, at least canceling at least one game for certain. I don't think they'll come back to the Cleveland game. This could be a long one. This philosophy as much as money.
Eason throws, and it's caught by Starring. Inbounds at the 32. Dan, what do you think? How long will it last?
Oh, I don't. How can you speculate on that, Al? I mean, I never thought it would get this far. I mean, I'm a little discouraged that we're to the state here to where they're going to walk out. I agree with Frank. I don't see how they're going to be out for less than one game. Looks like the wheels are in motion where no meetings are set. I mean, how quickly could they get it done if they made up their minds they wanted to do it tonight? Yeah.
There is a lot to be settled in. I mentioned philosophy, and you are much more passionate about philosophy than you are money.
1st and 10 from the 33, and Irving Fryer makes the catch, and he is ridden down right away by Kerry Glenn.
A lot of the people I know that are passionate about philosophy are people that already have money. Isn't that the truth? It's easier to be passionate about your philosophy if you've got a little cash in the bank.
2nd and 6 from the 36. Collins. And Glenn makes the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and about 2.
And what's the other key profundity? Nothing is deader after the revolution than the revolutionary.
Or the guy who quit smoking.
Not pretty, is it, Ray?
He may be wishing they'd leave now.
Yeah. 3rd and 2. Beatty makes the catch, and that's the 1st down for New England at the 44-yard line with 9.5 to go.
New England is a team with a little more on their minds than perhaps other teams involved in the strike. We've been told by one of the officials that there's a lot of concern on the part of the players about the economic problems of Billy Sullivan, and many of the veteran players are very close to Bill Sullivan, who is going to be put in a tremendous bind and might be forced to sell his ball club.
From the 45, it's Beatty, and he takes it to the 46. In fact, the potential sale was being held up because of the possibility that the Sullivan family felt existed that the team would conceivably be moved. And that's one thing they want to avoid. That's one thing they want to stop. 2nd down and 1 from the 46-yard line. It's tipped and it's incomplete. Intended for Collins, and it'll be 3rd down and 1.
New England fans are wondering, how can this team look so bad? This may be as bad a football game as they play all season long. I just can't see a team with this much talent floundering like this week in and week out.
The last major bad one they played was against the Jets up in New England a year ago. Jets were ripped up then, too, and they came up and destroyed them.
3rd and 1. And Tutupu takes it down to the 39-yard line.
Eason's got to start thinking big.
Yeah, I mean, this is nice. It's nice to be able to move the ball down the field, but you're down by 19.
And no huddle offense.
39-yard line. And the catch is made at the 22, and that's Stanley Morgan.
I don't think they've covered him all night. He's dropped a couple, but he has been the man. I'm just surprised they haven't gone back to him more frequently.
And he juggled that one. Did you notice that ball came loose, and he just brought it back in?
First catch of the night for Morgan. 1st and 10, no huddle, shotgun, 24-yard line. 8 minutes to go. For Starring, flags all over the place.
And that may be offensive interference. That looked like Stephen Starring's. Oh, he's going to call it. If Stephen Starring is any indication, this is going to go against the Jets. Woo! Jerry Holmes, the guy that's going to get flagged, but I'd like to take a closer look at that.
I think they actually both could have been called.
Pass interference. Number 47
Starring working to the inside.
The ball's on the 1-yard line. 1st down.
missing that one.
That's tough. Les, he called him for having that hand, trying to keep Starring away with his hand, but it was very minimal.
From the one now, off the play fake and lost it into the end zone and caught for the touchdown. Greg Beatty.
Great pattern. Collins was there in case Beatty didn't handle it.
Going back to the interference call against Jerry Holmes, he has as much right to the football as does Stephen Starring, and he clearly had the position to the ball. He was the man on the inside. As we look at the touchdown pass, tough to loft it in any better than that. Beatty looks it in. Kevin MacArthur had the original coverage on Beatty, fell down. Good throw that time by Tony Eason.
And now Franklin for the extra point. And New England tries to climb back in it. 29-17.
Take a look at the interference call again. Jerry Holmes on the outside. Very close call. Holmes knows that Starring would have to fight through him to get to the ball. He has every right to do that. The only thing they might have called would be that hand preventing him from fighting through the ball.
That's clearly what got the call, the right hand on Starring.
.7:48 to go in the fourth quarter. 29-17 Jets. Kurt Sohn is back to take it at the 10-yard line as the Jets were set up to protect against the possible onside kick. And Sohn takes it back out to the 25. So 7:39 to play in the fourth. Jets at the 26-yard line, 1st and 10. Ken O'Brien, much like the Jets, his season paralleled the team as a whole last year. A lot of questions about O'Brien. Who is the real Ken O'Brien during the offseason? And Joe Walton thus far likes the answer through the first 2 games of the season. Hector for 3.
You go back to the prior year, 85, Ken O'Brien led the National Football League in passing, was a Pro Bowl player. Through 11 games of a year ago, he was leading the NFL once again, and then everything came unglued, primarily because of the injuries, not only to the offensive line, but to the defense. But it had to hurt him, and O'Brien struggled through those final 5 games, all losers, and then was set down for Pat Ryan in the playoffs.
2nd and 7. Stepping up nimbly, throwing low and incomplete, intended for Rocky Cleaver. 3rd and 7. Giants Stadium. Isn't it ironic, as Frank mentioned at the very top of the show, 5 years ago, Monday night game right here, Green Bay against the Giants, and the lights went out for 8 weeks. Third and 7. And flags on the play before the snap.
That had to be someone in the offensive line moving, I would imagine.
False start prior to the snap. Number 63 offense, still 3rd down.
Ted Banker runs up a debit.
Should I?
Not yet, Dan, not yet. Hold on. Take a look at it and read it over once before you hit us with it.
Wait until you can be comfortable with it.
Yep. 3rd down and 7.
I may not get to do it for a while.
3rd and 7 from the 25. O'Brien, what a beauty. Walker inside the 25, and a nice nifty move, and down at the 16.
Talk about your blown defenses. He was all out there by his lonesome. Took a while for O'Brien to find him.
This is a new definition of being open. Right now, no one was within 15 yards of Wesley Walker.
He looked like he came out of the tunnel at the far end.
Looked like the hidden man coming off the sidelines. From behind Kenny O'Brien, look at what he sees. There's Wesley Walker. The closest man, Rod McSwain, is a good 15 yards behind when the ball is thrown.
And that is a very, very big play, because that was a 3rd and 7. And if that's an incompletion, they punt and New England gets the ball back. That may have wrapped it up. At the 16, Hector takes it to the 12, and now they can take another couple of minutes off the clock. 60 yards on the play. 5.5 to go. O'Brien 19 to 25 for 314 yards.
Steve Hurt would love to say the key thing in passing is yardage per attempt. Right. That's over 12 yards an attempt.
And if you're in the 8s, that's terrific. He's at 12 tonight, and there are the figures. Through the middle, Hector.
Oh, that's pretty.
Oh, and he'd like to get in again, and he may get the chance. He's to the 3, and it's 1st and goal.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Roger Vick with the lead block, but how about that spin?
He's quick, he's strong, hangs on to the football. Let's take a look at it again. And that's Vick right there in front of your screen, getting the block. Now watch this spin.
Oh, nice.
A lot of backs can do it, but a lot of backs don't hold on to the football like he does when he does it. He never gets away from his body. That's when you can lose it so often when you come through there spinning.
First and goal at the 4. Hector, can he get in again? No, just short. Mickey Schuler leading the way.
That's the other side of him, Dan. He's powerful.
And Joe Walton, you know him well, Frank. He's such a player's coach. And when I mean a player's coach, a guy that likes his players to like him. He talked about what nice people he had on his football team. And why do you think that he's going to give the ball to Johnny Hector again? He'd like him to get it.
Sure. He'd get a little tear in the eye if things are going right for a friend of his. He's always been like that, very emotional.
Hector perhaps seeking his 5th touchdown of the season. Nope, play fake. And O'Brien going to Schuler, but he's out of bounds anyway. Even had he caught it, he was on the back line. So it'll be 3rd down.
So he's not as nice a guy as I thought he was.
He matter, he doesn't like Johnny Hector.
He's still got another chance.
Johnny Hector.
Wants to spread the wealth. Well, it's midnight. Clock has struck midnight in more ways than one.
And I thought O'Brien was leaving.
Yeah. 3rd and goal as the Jets try to salt it away. They lead by 12.
Give it to him.
There goes Cleaver. No. Fa'aola. In there, says O'Brien, and in there say the officials. Nu'u Fa'aola.
Give us his real name again, Al.
Yeah, right.
Number 1. That's nice. The embrace of Johnny Hector. He set it up. But on his own, Fa'aola hit 2 yards from the goal line. Legs it in, stretches it out, falls across the goal line.
Well, the makeshift line is working once again. Alexander out from right guard to right tackle. Fields from center to right guard. Bingham, good backup offensive lineman who perhaps plays center better than anywhere else, and they have worked well tonight.
A little signal there for all of his buddies in Hawaii. 36-17. And at the stroke of midnight, let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
And for a while. Yep. Not enough biff, bop, zip, zaps.
That's level to win best line.
If you notice, we haven't used the telestrator much here in the second half. That's because it's not working. It obviously rode over on the New England team bus. Nothing that was on that bus was working.
You don't think we buy these things, do you? Crazy Eddie's best.
Ray Berry and his team go home after the game, and then they're going to meet tomorrow in the end zone, starring Downing it there. 36-17, the Jets. So the Jets are on their way to being 2-0 for what that's worth at this particular point. And again, if and when they're due to resume play in some form a week from Sunday. Jets trying to do something they haven't done in 9 years. And strangely enough, you talk about parity, only 4 teams would be 2-0 after tonight. 4 out of 28. And that sort of typifies New England's night. Collins.
Keith Jackson were here, he'd say he heard hoofbeats.
And his own heartbeat. Keith would be exactly right. He would be so, those are the scheduled games. Jets of Pittsburgh. Just 0-9 against the Steelers. Well, maybe they planned this strike. They don't want to go there.
Second and 10 at the 20. Eason over the middle, and that's Beatty making another catch, but too little and too late out to the 30-yard line. And a first down. 3.5 to play. And that's Morgan. Stanley makes the catch, stops the clock out at the 42-yard line. There it is. No TDs in the first half, and then the Jets explode in the third period and lead it by 19.
Al, you talked about the teams that are 2-0, and there are only 4 of them after tonight in the NFL. You wonder what their feelings are going to be if they have to sit home, watch their replacements go out and lose 2 or 3 games. How'd you like to be 2-0 when you left and 2-3 or 2-4 when you came back?
First and 10 from the 43-yard line. Morgan, and he makes the catch. He's inbounds at the 12-yard line.
What a shot by Eason. He has got the strong arm. There's no question about that whatsoever. He put that one on a string.
He showed a great deal of raw athletic ability, just staying alive long enough to get this throw off.
Hamilton was just laying back. I don't think he thought he had that kind of an arm. He just zipped it. Hamilton was laying off his man, just kind of coasting, and there was so much on it he couldn't get back to the receiver.
With that long reception, Stanley Morgan's probably going to approach a 100-yard night tonight.
Yep.
And that's going to be very deceiving.
But isn't it? That's a 45-yard pickup at the 12, first and 10. Into the end zone and a touchdown. It's Stephen Starring making the catch. And New England is not dead yet, because now they're back to within 12 if they kick the extra point. Still 3:03, and New England still has all of its timeouts.
They're still alive, but they're just a little short of breath. Again, he's strong arm, looks all the way in, and the man's still wide open in the end zone.
Well, that's
Starring, one of those receivers you talked about, Dan. They've got a collection of them.
That's just poor protection and poor coverage by the New York Jets to allow Starring to be that open.
Franklin kicks it through. Well, the players play through midnight, but not many of the fans. This place has really emptied out.
Let's watch the coverage. That's Irving Fryer to the inside, being covered by Kerry Glenn. Jerry Holmes to the outside. Just let's Starring go.
passed him on to Miano, and Miano had nothing to do with it.
Holmes was playing zone. Miano was playing man-to-man.
It did look that way.
That doesn't work, Frank.
No, not very frequently.
So 36-24. Most of the crowd, figuring the Jets had it well in hand, have departed the premises.
At least they are making me look a little better when I said at the beginning they don't play many 7-3 ball games.
That's right. Yeah, 60 points. You go figure it. 9 points, a total of 9 points in the first half, and now 60 in the game.
But New England was favored tonight, and a lot of people were publicly stating that they weren't favored by enough. Only favored by a couple of points over the Jets. And
realistically, you touched on it right at the top. This is one of the better teams, right up there with the Bears, the Giants, Denver, Seattle. Without hurting a whole lot of feelings, they are right up there with the very best. Certainly with the personnel.
2 tickets going cheap. I get the feeling plenty of good seats will be available.
And you smell a onside kick here, Dan?
yeah,
very deceptive lineup there.
With Franklin, you don't know what he's going to do.
High bounce, and Schuler takes it. Actually, it went out of bounds before Schuler grabbed it. So the option here is on behalf of the New York Jets. Seaman, though, wants to get it straightened out.
Well, they have the new rule now that if a kickoff goes out of bounds, they'll spot it at the 35. That'd be a good deal.
Illegally out of bounds. Re-kick, 5-yard penalty, since it was an attempted onside kick and was less than 20 yards.
That's the addendum.
That's the difference.
Right.
It went less than 20 yards, and it was an attempted onside kick, so they'll try it again.
You sure that was an attempted onside kick?
Notice how Tony Franklin wears a shoe for an onside kick.
It's his onside kick shoe.
That is how I knew.
They got the good hands people lined up on the near side to the Jets. High bouncer. That's almost a replay there.
You're going to have a safety here in a moment.
Hey, Tony, give us a break, will you?
4 flags.
Franklin doesn't even have to cover the kick. He's still standing back there on the 30.
Got to get that shoe off. But actually, he's coming awfully close to doing it perfect.
All right, Jerry.
That was a second onside kick, consecutive kick, illegally out of bounds. By rule, the receiving team will get the ball where it went out of bounds. First down.
Okay, that's the second asterisk.
Well, that's pretty much descriptive of the way things have gone for the Patriots tonight. On the 46-yard line.
And pro football.
In the red zone is where the Jets get the football.
The Patriots are going to have to take their timeouts on defense. The way it looks right now is the Jets will take as much off the clock as they can, and they've got Ryan in the game. Pat Ryan in the game. He had spelled O'Brien earlier when Kenny had a contact lens dislodged. And Johnny Hector at the 49-yard line. Of course, when you talk about running out the clock, you don't want to be a Bengals fan.
Ooh.
Yesterday, as I'm sure everybody knows, 6 seconds to go. Bengals trying to run out the clock. Take 4 off. 49ers get it back with 2 seconds. And hello, Jerry Rice.
If there were 100 things to do, 99 of the 100 would work. And Sam White chose the 100th option.
And 99 out of 100 times that would have worked.
And
of all, dream about that a little bit.
And Frank, of all the people in the world to be looking down and judging you, Paul Brown from the press box.
One of the reasons that it was a little easier for Ken O'Brien to be set down last year, it was Pat Ryan, who is a dear friend of his, who replaced him. They're very close. They spent a lot of time together with their wives. That perhaps eased it a little bit, but the real work on the part of Joe Walton and Zeke Bartkowski, the quarterback coach, came during the offseason. They spent a lot of time with O'Brien. They worked on a lot of things with him, as they did the year before when he set an NFL record for being sacked. I'm not going to say what's in your mind, Dan.
The long and the short of it.
Or a short season.
Jim Palmer was here earlier.
Those were a little longer. You'd find them on a golf course.
Second and 12.
Second and 12.
And the Patriots 48.
The Patriots taking that last time out, so they have 2 remaining and 2:47 to go in the 4th. Jets have the ball and they lead by a dozen. And they're going to put it up. Ryan looking for Toon, and Toon, you talk about interference. And that pass was way underthrown, and Bowman didn't even look for the ball.
Ryan's first pass attempt. He's been sitting on the bench watching all this. But that wasn't pass interference. That's mayhem.
Well, he didn't see the end of that either, because Garen Barris committed a little mayhem.
Pass interference, number 28 defense, first down.
Some countries of the world, they'll put you in jail for this.
That's Bowman coming right back into Toon. More times in this league, Dan, would that be perfectly legal? He did take a shot from Barris.
That's playing the man instead of the ball.
Bowman finding his way to the injured Roland James, and the Jets now trying to take some more time off the clock. Roger Vick, 2.5 to go. And the Patriots are forced again to spend another timeout.
I'll tell you, at this point in the game, when you start thinking about tiebreakers, points against being one of them somewhere.
I'm just thinking about no overtime.
You're not going to get overtime. Well, let's see. Tonight on a Nightline, the latest from the Persian Gulf, where today a U.S. helicopter fired on an Iranian landing craft thought to be laying mines off the coast of Bahrain. That's tonight, following your late local news on Nightline.
Wouldn't you love to get Ted Koppel in between Upshaw and Donlan? Maybe that's the unknown figure of authority.
That is an interesting scenario. I'm working that out, and yeah, I can see that.
So after the timeout, it is 2nd down and 6 when play resumes for the Jets at the 11-yard line. It's amazing, you know, the strikes and all of the off-field action, the arbitrators ruling today. And how about getting a mandate from a court, as Brian Bosworth did, so we can wear number 44 instead of 55.
That doesn't do a lot for me.
Oh, man.
Does not move me either.
No.
Our courts don't have enough to handle, do they? From the 11 down to the 7-yard line.
Good question. How do you get that on the calendar?
I don't know. It's a great question. Well, his agent contended it would hurt him economically because of his endorsements and such.
I guess he has a corporation that has the number 44, like Boz 44 Inc. or something along those lines.
You mean that really doesn't move you, Dan?
No, it doesn't move me at all. For $11 million, they could tattoo my number on my back. Whatever number they wanted. On my forearm, I would.
A pair of minutes to go. And we'll be back. Jets by 12. He does. Touchdown. He gets it. Late in coming, but he winds up with a hat trick.
And this be a whooping. This be a real whooping right here.
Maybe they won't have that extra meeting tomorrow.
This is a close call, by the way. I'm not sure that Johnny Hector made it into the end zone. Okay, he cuts to the inside. There's contact that stops him. Oh, no, that's not a touchdown.
Yeah, but it was for number 5.
Spoken like a true running back, Rex.
Absolutely. Give us a break. Big guy's always sitting on us.
His knee clearly touched at the 2-yard line. We may be getting some replay action.
Uh-oh. Don't chalk it up yet, Johnny.
They're not going to give it to him. Again, Johnny Hector on the sweep to the left. Foul out front.
After further review by instant replay, it is determined that the knee hit down. The ball will be on the 1-yard line prior to going in the end zone.
There it is. That's why we have instant replay.
Well, these guys are perfect twice now.
Jack Reeder is the man. There it is from the reverse angle, and a better look at it here. Knee down, ball not over.
Peter Abitanti, the communicator, and has worked successfully twice tonight. They come back with him. They got him in there. There he is.
So he'll get another chance here. We've got 1:54 to play.
So one thing I want to do quickly here. Jim Sweeney, the left tackle of the Jets, asked me to say hello to his dad, who's recovering from some surgery. Just got out of the hospital, got home to watch tonight's ball game. He's got to be pleased the way the Jets offensive line has controlled things this evening. So hello to Mr. Sweeney back in Pittsburgh. What a nice guy.
Can I say hello to my new granddaughter?
Yeah.
She's asking for me.
Send money. There's Jim Sweeney.
Had shoulder surgery in the offseason, didn't he, Dan?
Sure did. He and Ted Banker both.
I think Joe Walton wants to find out what down it is here.
It's always good to know.
Yeah, helps.
The chains have 4th down. The scoreboard has 1st.
Yeah.
A modest discrepancy.
And it is a 1st down.
First and goal.
Okay. First and goal at the 1.
Should we speculate on Johnny Hector?
Well, if I were Johnny Hector, I'd be a little upset if I didn't get a chance. I'm not being partial to running up the score or anything like that, but I've been a running back, and there are not that many times in a career you're going to have an opportunity to put 5 big ones on the board.
In 2 games.
Well, I mean, to get off to this kind of a start.
He's the odds-on favorite. He's got Ola in the backfield with him. 350. And they give it to Newton. And he stops at the 1.
Joe's got something for Hawaiians. Maybe he's trying to get a little trip with his wife, Ginger. He's fun. He is emotional. Loves this game. All-American at Pittsburgh. Came up. Nobody gave him a chance to make it. He made it with the Redskins for about 3 years. Traded to the Giants in '61. Played on 3 championship teams. And a clutch 3rd down receiver. He'd fight his way off the line of scrimmage. That's a tight end you're looking at right there, Joe Walton.
The game was different then.
Oh, in black and white.
Yeah. It's funny because announcers always say to the big tight end. It's almost as if that's the name of the position, but there was the exception to the rule. Good action for you. No strike in the NCAA as far as we know at this particular point, and you will see that game Saturday, 3 Eastern time. The Cornhuskers of Nebraska against Arizona State. And then, you know, that's what's supposed to take place. Could be, should be, would be, who knows. Denver-Cleveland is on the schedule.
Any prominent people, grads of ASU?
Well, what do you think of that matchup in Tempe?
A good one. You won't be rooting for your old alma mater, will you?
Rose Bowl champions. And a fumbled snap as Ryan has all he can handle to maintain possession. Meanwhile, how's your old school doing?
They shouldn't, before I answer that, they shouldn't run another play. What a perfect way to go into a strike on a fumbled quarterback sneak.
Ryan, meanwhile, if he's thinking about sneaking one over, has never scored a touchdown in his career that began in 1978.
My guys, by the way, beat Washington State over the weekend. University of Michigan.
Rebounding.
Yeah. And the Trojans the winner this weekend.
Yeah. Do you see? Will it be Johnny Hector? That's the only mystery we have remaining.
Oh, it's Fa'aola. Aloha.
Ola.
Oh, he wants it back. There you go.
Yeah, that's hurt this man. Very quiet. A lot of pride.
Nu'u.
The surge up front belongs to the men in green. That's special. Keep that ball, Nu'u. Might try fastening your chin strap, too, for you.
He might have had it. He just was puffed up there and blew it out.
Body serves his way into the end zone. Leahy kicks it through with 15 seconds to go. Fa'aola tonight, he's carried the ball 5 times for 4 yards. He's averaging 0.8 with 2 touchdowns. Talk about the maximum out of the minimum. And since Berry became the coach in a regular season game, the most points, well, that's the most points they've given up since the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and they lost to Chicago 46-10.
There's been a lot of games back and forth in this series. It goes all the way back to the old AFL, but I really do, being serious for a moment, have to go back to the fact that this team perhaps is more upset, if that's possible, than some of the others because of the implications it has involving a very popular owner. And we've touched on it 2 or 3 times. Billy Sullivan in economic trouble, trying to save his football team up in Foxborough, and the question is, will he be able to do it? That's on the mind of a lot of these veteran players.
You know, something has to be brought up, though, Frank. I don't think the Chicago Bears could be routed like this by anyone, much less the New York Jets. I don't think the Giants could be routed like this by anyone, especially the New York Jets. And I'm not downplaying the Jets, but, you know, maybe there are some serious questions. Maybe New England's not as good as everyone thinks they are, ourselves included.
This is Bob Perryman.
Certainly a consideration, but when you look back-to-back 11-5 seasons, the Super Bowl, and knocked out of the playoffs by the team that went to the Super Bowl the next year. Lots of good people down there.
Our boys in the booth, George Hill, Malibu Kelly Hayes. Our thanks. Crew led by Ken Wolf, Larry Cam. And, well, I guess maybe we'll talk to you next month.
Kind of an empty feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at halftime, that was the end of that. I mean, the air's out of the balloon. For the moment, anyway.
We outnumber the fans that remain.
Yeah. Shotgun. And, well, that's the appropriate way for this game, then. Forget a fumble quarterback snap. That's the way it started. Through Morgan's hands. Symbolizing the New England night.
Unfortunately, it didn't end. We've got to do it once more with feeling. Too bad the timekeeper from New England isn't here. This game be over.
Just going to say.
2 seconds ago.
He's out driving the snowplow. From the 30. Watch it and savor it, folks. It might be the last play we'll see for a while. Gonzo, that's it. End of week 2. End of the season for the moment. 30-24. The Jets win it. So the Jets are 2-0, and New England is 1-1. And it's Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf saying good night from Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. This ABC Sports